Okay, so, I made this video about Concord yesterday, about its character designs, which I found very frustrating because I felt that they were very empty character designs. They really lacked a sense of identity and uniqueness, and especially, like, lacked a sense of power source when it comes to, like, sort of reading them as in-game character designs. I had my criticisms, right? But a lot of people in the comments of that were saying, well, what about Deadlock? Like, Valve just released their hero shooter thing, Deadlock, which I think is like a hero shooter MOBA. I was looking for the word MOBA. For some reason I was like MMORPG. No, that's not the right thing. Hero shooter MOBA sort of thing. And I thought, oh, sure, I guess I can check that out, because one of my friends, Ro, was kind enough to send me an invite to the thing. I had it downloaded, installed, just never checked it out, but since apparently we can see the heroes, why don't we take a look at them and see if we can figure something out about them. Can I rotate you? No. Okay. So, Abrams, close combat guy. Okay. So there's definitely some lineage of like, I know it's Valve. Like, I don't know if the same team at Valve who worked on this that worked on TFT, but I see some lineage of the TFT style in there. Like, especially, like, you see how... And this is, like... And I don't know if this is representative of how the final game is going to look, obviously, because the final game, who knows? If it's like this, but like these big flat color surfaces, like these very simple, relatively low poly, it sort of looks like, shapes on a lot of the character design, like big oversized sort of cartoony gun, that has a lot of TF2 flavor to me as well. It kind of looks a little unfinished, maybe it needs a little bit more texture than that, but okay. So there's definitely more here to engage with, right? Because we have like the badge on the chest says like cop or detective or I don't know, lawyer. Like, it could be like a sort of Phoenix Wright thing, something along those lines. And that, like, but like with the trench coat with like the straps for the gun thing, is like, oh, okay, this feels like this is like a detective, police captain, like police detective sort of guy. And sort of this is like a very like a little bit on the nose, but like with the glasses and with the book, you sort of get the sense of like, okay, this is like a police detective, but not like the loose cannon who's a danger to the civilian, like who's like, God damn it, McCrawley, you're a loose cannon, you need to turn you. Not that kind of police detective, but like the kind of police detective who's like, yes, I read the book and I throw the book at them, right? That feels like the kind of idea here. So he has a drain, infernal wrestler, and then of course like devil, right? He's a fucking devil. He's a fucking demon with the glowy eyes, and with, I wish I could zoom in on him, with the glowy eyes and like the devil horns and the ears. I do like the hairstyle. That the hairstyle is like this very coiffed, carefully managed, because that again, that ties into the idea of like, this is a guy who does things literally by the book kind of idea. But he's not uptight looking at the character design, specifically because he has this coat open, right? Like, he's not buttoned this stuff all up completely. He's like proper, but he's not completely closed off, right? He doesn't have like the coat tied with like the straps, the belt around the waist. So my read on this character is that he's someone who's like prim, proper, does things by the book, but maybe a little bit of a wild streak, like maybe a little bit of a something. Like a little bit of more openness than someone who's just like a fucking rules nerd, right? And then like combine that with his anatomy, which is like, he's a bit of a brick shithouse. It's like, okay, like close combat, that makes sense that he would have like a big, bulky, sort of muscular body type in order to sort of support that idea. Okay, that makes sense. Bebop hooks an enemy for a knockout combo. Oh, you sure do. Okay, again, I wish I could get them on like a neutral background or something, but I have to go open my browser for that, and I don't want to. Okay. So this is like a scrap robot sort of thing with a whole bunch of stuff going, because like these are like padded plates down the side. That sort of looks like samurai armor. And that feels a little bit like it's supported by like the rope around the waist and like the prayer beads around the leg, that we have sort of maybe an Oni thing going on. Like maybe there's like we're sort of going for like a Japanese Oni, like ogre sort of thing with this character. On top of which we have the giant wrecking ball on the arm, which like that's a big silhouette component right there. Like that's, going by how much space it takes up in the character design, you'd say that that was probably like Yeah, exploding uppercut, probably done with that thing. So that must be an important part of his character design, his kit, since it's given such pride of place in, like, his silhouette. Then we have the gun. I'm guessing that's where the ultimate comes from. What I'm not seeing is where the hook would come from, specifically. That's kind of down to the pose, because it could be anywhere, like... But okay. I would not peg him for the hook guy. Like the Blitzcrank of this game, initially. But I can definitely see, like, that this guy would have a hook in there somewhere. There's a little bit of Half-Life to the visual design of like, his robot parts here as well. Like, that might just be me reading into it because it is a Valve game, right? Like, but the mechanical design of this thing, like, with the wires and, like, with the sort of spindliness of the whole thing and, like, these things that open... Like, that has very sort of Half-Life gravity gun vibes about it. Like, there's definitely a little bit of that Aperture Science feel in there. Okay, I wish he looked a little more personable. Like, I think that's kind of a boring face. Like, there's not really... Like, there's a lot of stuff going on with this guy. He's clearly got a deal going on. I do think maybe this design is a little bit overdone. Like, there's... Again, it might come down to the pose. The pose is maybe rendering this a little bit more complex than it actually is. But I do kind of feel like... this guy has maybe got a little bit too much going on and needs a little bit more personality. Like, think of Dog from Half-Life 2, right? Like, how much personality they got out of giving him that, like, that face with, like, that single eye that sort of, like, could do all that emoting. This doesn't really feel like it has the capacity for that much emoting. It doesn't feel like there's much of a face there. Like, I'm not getting a sense of emotionality or feelings from the guy. Maybe that's part of the point. Maybe this guy is, like, emotionless cyborg killer machine. Like, maybe that's what's going on there. I sort of initially just... Like, because of the big, chunky, like, cue ball punch arm he's got there, I sort of read him a little bit sort of as a funny character, like, comic a little bit. But if he's supposed to be, like, a merciless robot, like, scrap killer thing, then I guess not having a face would make sense for that. Huh. There's also the background. I should read the background for the other guy. Abrams. Hard-hitting, hard-headed, and hard-drinking Detective Abrams has been a fixture on the New York investigating scene for years. From stolen art, missing persons to ritual murders, Abrams didn't just take any case that came across his desk, he solved them. But his days of following cheating spouses came to an end the day he opened his door and found the tome sitting on his... so the tome is like... Okay. No instruction was left for him save a brief note scrawled in onyx blood that read, "Don't let them have it." Abrams hasn't figured out where the thing came from, but seeing as his home has been broken into, his office tossed on 3 different occasions, and his car firebombed, he has a vested interest in figuring out what the hell is going on. Okay, so the book is not specifically a comment on his character, I see. Okay, so the book is like... Because, like, that was the thing I noted about the book, is that it's kind of incongruous with the rest of him, right? Like, he's this police detective, but then why does he carry around a huge book? I thought it was like a, oh, throw the book at them. I thought it was like a law joke, but I guess it's more a thing of, like, this is supposed to be kind of incongruous. Because this is like a mystical, mysterious element that's, like, out of pace with what the rest of the character design is saying, except... He's a devil, though, so, like, the fact that he's carrying around, like, an old mystical tome of some kind is, like... If the idea was that the book is supposed to look kind of out of place and you kind of go, whoa, what's up with that book? And, like, you don't feel like it feels natural to him. I don't know that that completely works when he is literally, like, a devil man. But, okay. How about you, Bebop? Forged by the hands of a widowed junkyard attendant, Bebop was more than just a scrap golem laborer. He was the son she couldn't have. Together, they would work in the iron yard during the day and listen to jazz at night. It was predictable, if not comforting, routine. But now, Bebop's creator has fallen ill, and while Miss Shelley wouldn't approve of the activities that Bebop does at night to pay for her medicine, what she doesn't know can't hurt her. Right, okay. So he is supposed to be sympathetic. Like, he is supposed to be... Like, he's a Pinocchio, right? Like, he is her robot child, whom she loves very much. And for that, I do feel like some of it comes down to how he's animated, right? Like, if his animation has that personability, if his animation has that ability to communicate, like sympathy and joy, and feeling, okay, sure. But, like, again, comparing to Overwatch, think again of Bastion, right? Like, Bastion has this very, very simple face. Right? Which is sort of along the same lines as Dog, actually, from Half-Life. This very, very simple face that's very blank, right? That doesn't have a lot of character. which allows for a lot of Kuleshov effect like nonsense to happen. It allows you to project a lot of feelings onto him in a way that when you have like this stuff with like the spikes and like the multiple heads and like the skull aesthetic that his head kind of has, where it kind of looks like a head that came off of a murder robot, I don't really think you get the vibe of this guy as like an innocent Pinocchio who's trying to save his mom kind of thing. Like, not in the character design, at least. Much like with Concord, though, like, that's a thing of, like, you can communicate, like, the idea can be that he looks scary and terrifying at first, but he's actually a nice guy underneath. You can definitely do that. It's just, if you wanted that to come across in the character design, not so much. And I kind of wish he had a little bit more visible charm than this, because this just looks too much like generic murder robot head, right? Like, that just looks too much like this could be the head of any, like, fucking, like, murder robot in a 40K knockoff, right? So, not sure about that. And I think that the character design is maybe a little bit overloaded on too many details. I think some things could be streamlined a little bit away. Like, again, he's supposed to be a junk robot. It makes sense that he's a mess, but there's a gradation of that. Like, there's a... You could probably streamline a little bit of this a little bit more. Oh, whatever. Dynamo locks down the... Oh, see, now there's a face with some fucking appeal. That is some fucking Rocketeer-ass... Oh, I love that. Oh, that rules. He's a magnet robot. I get it. Because Dynamo, right? But magnet, right? He's got magnet stuff going on, so he's, like, got hands and like feet that are magnetized to... That is so cool. That's giving me real Atomic Robo vibes, if anyone knows that comic. Oh, I love you. Oh, you're wonderful. Holy shit. What a fantastic character design. Oh, you're so cool. Holy shit, look at that. So, there's a couple of things, right? So, bow tie, he's got like this proper like nice jacket and the pants, like he's well dressed for what he is, right? He's got the two eyes on the front of his dome head here that sort of look like little round glasses, right? So he looks like a fucking nerd on the one hand, right? On the one hand, this guy looks like a complete like 1920s nerd, right? A sort of ineffectual nerd science boy, but then two things. The bulk of his body, first of all, just the fact that he is so huge, and like big and round, and like his like clearly has this like muscle like anatomy on his arms, kind of makes you go, whoa, okay, big boy. Like not a meek nerd, not a retiring nerd. This guy's powerful. And then the fucking belly button. I love that. That's such a cute little detail, and such an industrial detail too, right? Like that looks like some sort of valve arrangement. Ironic. Looks like some sort of valve arrangement. Looks like some sort of something that like would be on like a pressure vessel or like fucking whatever his body is built out of. But then like down on the tummy like that, it also comes across as like an Audi belly button, which is just adorable. That's very, very cute. That's sort of a little bit childish in a way. But like the idea of like having the detached hands just like hovering with magnetism, fuck, that's good. That is, like, that's what you do when you have, like, a robot. You do shit with the anatomy that you can't do with anything else, right? Like, yes, like, fuck, yeah, a robot would have magnet limbs that hover. Of course it would. That rules. Love the bag, right? Like, again, this is sort of the thing that's the Atomic Robo thing, is, like, this looks like action science, right? This, like, not in Indiana Jones type necessarily, but like a sort of like applied science guy who like builds ray guns and cool tools and uses them to go on adventures. The posing on this character also helps a lot with that. Like, you see that pose and you instantly go, okay, that is a man springing into action. That is someone who's leaping to the call of adventure. Like, instantly you sort of get that. What a good character design. Oh, you are lovely. I love you. You're like a healer? Yeah, restore health over time, and some crowd control. I see. Okay, hang on. I need to know your background. As a scientist, Professor Dynamo always had an inquisitive mind, so when a rift in space and time opened up in Central Park, he was first on the scene to investigate. And while he expected such a majestic sight to be life-changing, he was thinking more in a metaphorical way, as opposed to having his body atomized and reduced to a tiny dying star. But while his body is gone, his spirit and lust for knowledge lives on. Tenured professor at Columbia College, Dynamo looks to learn more about his condition while maintaining his class load. After all, he has future minds to inspire. Yes! Perfect. He's literally a college professor. Excellent. Very good. Action nerd. I like that a lot. Like, it's the little tiny eye. It's the little round eyes that look like glasses that do it. Like, that's a big part of why he's so charming. Because like without that, imagine if you took away the eyes completely, right? Like imagine if he only had the head. Still charming, but you don't get quite that sense of like, oh, like, look how cute you are. Oh, what a sweetie. I should fucking play this game. Damn. Grey Talon. Oh, okay. Oh, interesting. An old man. Cool. So this is like, yeah, this is kind of Ash. Like, this is kind of Ash Hanzo. Sort of very much in that vein. The bow here is taking up most of the space, so I can't really get a good look at the rest of him, but I think he's got a prosthetic robot arm, which I like. Like, the idea of, like, you have this person who's like an old warrior. Is he supposed to be, like, native? A founding member of the Baxter Society, Wesley Grey Talon. Wesley Grey Talon spent close to 40 years hunting monsters that preyed on men before finally deciding to find a replacement to lay down his bow. Grey Talon's duties had meant he never spent much time with his wife and kid, and now that his son has started a family of his own, he realized that this was his last chance to reconnect with the people he loved. Retirement suited Wesley. He made up for lost time with his wife, doted on his grandkids, he cooked dinner for the whole family every Wednesday. He was happy till he got the call. The authorities claimed it was a freak accident, that the fire consumed his son's house before anyone got a chance to escape, but Wesley knew better. His son's wife was Ikshan. She could snuff out flame with a thought. If their bodies were found burned, they had to be dead long before there was a fire. And so Grey Talon has picked up his bow once more, and when he finds who's responsible, there will be a bloody reckoning. So I think, going by the name, and like the design, that this is supposed to be like a native character, which I think is very cool. Interesting, cool sort of... I wonder if that's supposed to be like a magazine loading thing, where like he can pull and pull and pull and pull, and like just fire and fire and fire, or what's going on. I'm not sure how to read his weapon. I think the weapon looks a little... Like, the idea here seems to be that you have like this old character who sort of dresses in like... this, like, flowing, like, lots of cloth, like, not a lot of sort of tech wear or anything like that. And then you have, like, this high-tech compound bow thing going on with these lightning arrows or whatever they are. And that's, like, okay, that sort of makes sense. I don't feel like it gels completely. Like, I feel like, especially with the way that his prosthetic here looks, which, again, I assume it's a prosthetic, I wish this kind of looked more old-timey. Like, I don't 100% know if the mix between, like, this sort of angular, sort of alloys, high-tech, sci-fi-esque bow design quite meshes with the rest of what's going on. I also do wish we could get the bow out of the way so we could get a proper look on his character, but, like, I like the asymmetry of, like, the sash down on one, like, the coat down on one side here. It's a cute little bag. Like, that feels very handcrafted, the bag that he's wielding there. Which, again, that seems to be the idea, that he has, like, this high-tech, super science-y bow thing, but then the rest of him is, like, more traditional, more old-fashioned. It can definitely work. I just don't feel like I get a good enough look at him here to really assess what the character design is like. Like, is his other arm also prosthetic, or is that one... normal? Because I would like that asymmetry. Like, if you had the prosthetic arm on the left and then, like, this thing hanging down on the right, that would be, like, a nice cross asymmetry thing. But I don't feel like I can see enough of him. Maybe... Okay, let's try click the hero sandbox. We can probably get into, like, a practice mode where we can get a better look at him. Unless it's first person, of course, in which case we can't. Well, I might as well. Might as well see what the game actually looks like. This is a reaction to the character designs, and then I guess also the practice mode. Eventually. I'm sorry, I don't edit these videos, so you're gonna have to sit through the loading screen with me. And I'm all out of my drink. Oh. Might as well look at the loading screen, then. So we're doing, like, a sort of, 1930... Oh, okay. Here we are. 1930s, 20s, New York. It's first person. Oh, no, it's not. Okay. It does seem to be that, like, he's got a magazine loader, right? Like, so he can just, like, kind of... Yeah, so he can just kind of go. Okay, that's cool. Can I... Is there some way for me to... Okay, double jump. I guess these are minions. Okay, so looking at him, yeah. He's got one human arm, one robot prosthetic arm, right? Like, which is, again, this idea of the mixture of the traditional and the new, right? Like the traditional and the modern and the science-y. I feel like the bow in-game is a lot smaller than the one we see on, like, the hero screen.
If I stay on the ground, I'm dead.
Oh. Right, so that's cool. Like, you get up high and you can, like, rain down, but then you're also vulnerable to anyone who has, like, a sniper shot or whatever.
Setting snare.
Okay, so that's a trap. That'll activate on a hero, I guess.
Contact. I should trade my powers.
A boon from your patron.
I should check out the store. Finding a better angle.
And this would be like the control point, like a tower that you have to get past, which does nasty damage. I see, I get it. Is that a candle head? Oh, what a lovely character design. That's a nice little minion. Probably gonna die. Let's see. Decent health regeneration. You seem to pick up health if you pass over certain minions. Okay. But yeah, like, okay. I feel like this design could do with having something else going on. Like, I think there's supposed to be, like, a mixture of, like, he has, like, a sort of fairly, like, normal collared shirt thing going on, and then he has, like, this tunic, whatever it is. Oh, that guy healed me. Cool. Yeah, I can't really get a look at him from the front. I feel like maybe he's a little undercooked. I feel like there's parts of this character, like the idea of like this, like, Native American, like, sort of bow warrior who sort of mixes the old and the traditional with, like, sort of modern bow technology. That's very cool. I feel like he's lacking an iconic visual feature that sort of sets him apart. Right, like that kind of looks like, oh shit, like this is like his unique fashion. This is the thing that only he could wear. And I think it's the white shirt. I think, like, the idea seems to be that he's, like, wearing sort of a typical, like, again, this modern, like, modern for the 1930s or whatever, whenever this is supposed to take place. And then, in comparison with the sort of more old look, like, old-timey looking, traditional looking tunic thing he's got wearing around his waist and stuff, I just don't think it 100% does enough. But okay, cool. Not a terrible character design by any means, but yeah, some things about that probably need to be updated, at least in my opinion. Haze, okay. Let's see. Well, definitely got the assassin look about her. I like the face. I really quite like the face, actually. That's quite cool. Like, because it's basically completely flat black with the glowing eyes and the X on the forehead. I wonder about the X. Like, the X feels like it must mean something, right? Like, maybe it's something to do with, like something in her mind. Like, she has some sort of, like, whether it's like, maybe it's like Bullseye from DC Comics, or whether it's like Neji from Naruto. Like, it's like a signifier of ownership or something having been taken away from her. Interesting. So she has these two guns, and at least one of them is definitely attached to her backpack with, like, tubes. So that feels like, okay, she has these science guns that fire something from her backpack. Sleep dagger, smoke bomb, fixation, bullet dance. Okay, interesting color scheme, because, like, we're doing mostly all black with, like, orange accents. And again, I feel like maybe from the bottom down, because, like, this kind of looks like a tracksuit almost, or like a boiler suit. Like, what the pants exactly are here are not quite clear, but it leads into, like, what's definitely supposed to be leather boots, right? So are these supposed to be, like, leather pants? Is that the idea of it? Because, like, what it feels like is that she's supposed to basically have like a sleek, mostly cat suit with like very undetailed and undifferentiated, except for the streaks of orange from the waist down, and that's like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. And then on top, we have like this big, bold orange, like crop top coat thing that she's got. That's like the main sort of spark of color, like up near the top of the character, sort of drawing attention topwards to her. And that can definitely work. Like when you have a character who's like mostly made of one color, like mostly made of like a fairly flat, undifferentiated set of color surfaces, and then you give them like that one big bright like eye-catching thing on top, that can definitely work to make a design like really sort of striking. And I definitely think like with the eyes and the X on the forehead, definitely striking. I don't know, like that's, I guess that's supposed to be like a hair bun shape, the thing that's hovering behind her. Like, okay, I think maybe it'd be cooler if she was just straight up bald. Like if that's supposed to be like her hair, like a hair bun. I would kind of like it if she was straight up bald, or if she's supposed to have a hairstyle that she had kind of more of one. Like maybe hair made of smoke. That's sort of, again, also with the effect that's going on, kind of seems to be what they're driving at. The idea that she has like a head surrounded by haze or smoke. Like haze, right? And she throws smoke bombs and stuff. I think if the same head, the same face, but if it was like permanently like had like smoke coming out of the top of it that like falls down along the side over the shoulders and stuff, like smoke, like hair, right? Smoke that sort of takes the shape of hair around her head, and then she can like peer out from inside the smoke with like these bright orange eyes. That would be quite cool. Like, I don't know about the hair bun thing though. I'm not 100% sold on that, but like there's a lot of warping and like weird warbling going on up here that sort of indicates to me that something's supposed to be odd about her face in that way. Because, like, I think, like, also, or just remove the head entirely. Like, have her have no head, but just, like, this plume of smoke within which you can see the eyes and the X. That could also be quite cool. Like, I don't think she really needs a head. But, okay, like, this is striking. And you can definitely see immediately, like, okay, this is, like, an assassin character. Like, that's reasonably obvious from everything that's going on here. Like, 2 guns, that definitely means DPS. She's fairly frail and slight. That definitely means she's not, like, a tank who takes a bunch of damage. And then, like, just the threatening aura of this, like, pure black with, like, glowing. Like, if it was glowing red, it would be even more obvious, but, like, glowing orange still does it. Yeah, that works. That is a pretty cool character design. I wonder what the deal is with her head. Let's read the background. The Occult Security and Investigation Commission, the OSIC, is a black box government organization that makes the CIA look transparent. It falls on the men, women, and entities of the OSIC to keep the country safe from sinister forces that are beyond the capabilities of local law enforcement. As a member of the notorious Sandman Division, Haze is routinely tasked with infiltrating the dreams of persons of interest to assess their threat level, and if needed, put them to sleep. Oh, okay, so she's like a psychonaut, basically. Okay, so like, so she's a nightmare is kind of where the idea is, I guess. Like, she's supposed to be kind of a ghost in that sense. Okay. Yeah, again, that's where I kind of feel like it would make sense to give her, like, a smoky head instead of something that's, like, corporeal and solid. But, like, no, yeah, like, the basic idea here is, like, really solid. Infernus. Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, I got it. Okay, right. Like... I like that. That's charming. That's kind of dorky, but it's kind of charming. He's the fire dude. We can tell that from all of the fire he's got going on, but also he does the fire by doing finger guns. That's cute. Hang on, I need to take him into the sandbox. Sorry, we're gonna have to sit through the loading time again. Oh, or maybe not. Yeah. That's cute. I like that. That is literally like a finger gun, and he kind of has to go, ooh, hot, 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 to reload. Oh, that's really nice. I don't know about this run cycle. That feels a little... Like, is this guy supposed to be, like, really sleek and smooth and cool? Because, like, if he is, then this run cycle isn't it, I don't think. Like, if he's supposed to be a dork, right, who's trying to be cool, like, with the hat and all, okay, sure, that's fine. But... I think he needs a little bit more than the... Like, this is a real goofy run cycle. Oh, there's a dodge roll. Cool. I should learn the control scheme for this at some point. Oh, geez. Okay, yeah. Like, clearly he's supposed to be like a speedster, right? He's supposed to be quick, agile, kind of slick. And I really don't know if, like... if that run cycle works for that. Also, there's a lot of clipping. Again, this is obviously an unfinished game, right? So, like, I'm not judging this as, like, a finished product. That's the difference between this and Concord also, is that Concord is a game that's had, like, 8 years of full-scale development time as, like, a AAA thing with, like, ex-Bungie developers under Sony. So, like, there is a higher level of expectation there, I think. Oh, he's charging up an explosion. I see. Cool. Whee! Yeah, no, he definitely... No, I died. He definitely needs a better run cycle, though. That one's not very good. What the hell is he doing with his legs? That's not how you run. He's like trudging almost. Oh dear. Okay. Hold left alt to upgrade an ability. This one? No death, I guess. No cooldown. Fast stamina. I don't see the ability to... Oh, I click here. I see. Your bullets build up to apply a burning effect on enemies. Bullets and abilities will refresh the duration. Okay.
Need something a little more flammable. I hope my team can capitalize on this.
Spew napalm that amplifies damage. Okay, I see. And then you, like, so you apply a damage buff and then you get the... Okay.
I can upgrade my powers.
And then a flame trail that burns enemies. So, like, the way you would use that is... like, run through a crowd of enemies, get a burn thing on all of them after having pulled napalm on all of them. Or just supplement it with napalm in the aftermath. Okay, I see. But no, yeah. I just wanted to see the finger guns, but that's like, that's very cute. That's very funny. That's charming. That's a very charming thing, and that kind of seems to be the idea of him, like with the hat askew down over his face, and like the toothpick that he's chewing on, and like the glasses that visibly reflect the fire that he's doing. Right, like that's red and black. This is the fire guy, right? Like you see this guy, even if he isn't currently on fire. You see that guy and you're like, no, that's the fire guy. Obviously he has fire powers. Like that's very well telegraphed and obvious. And yeah, like not the most creative, not subverting any expectations here, but like the finger guns is like, that's very cute. That is very cute. I really like that. That's an adorable detail. Okay, let's see. What's your background? Like most teenagers, Infernus was wild, rebellious, and impetuous. Unlike most teenagers, Infernus was a creature from another plane and had a supernatural mastery over fire. Needless to say, his youth was filled with no small amount of arson, murder, and evidence disposal. But that was then. Now an adult, Infernus has mellowed out considerably. He's happy working at a bar with good live music and talking to interesting people. That being said, when someone at the bar gets belligerent or violent, he's not afraid to dust off the skills he once honed. Okay, that makes sense. Like, because I was wondering, like, is this guy another cop kind of character? Because a few things in the character design sort of, like, vaguely implied that to me, that, like, maybe this guy's, like, a sort of cop character. I'm glad he's not, because it feels like that would be sort of, like, that would be a little bit out of step with the, like, the sort of suave personality thing that he's got going on. I really like the hat over the head. I like, because that explains the vest, that explains, like, the sort of tight dress. There's a lot going on up top on him. I feel like maybe something else could... I feel like he could do with colorful shoes. In terms of his character design. I feel like he could do, like shoes that had, like, a stylish red rim on them, or red soles, or, like, just something, a little bit of something that sort of makes them, like, a little bit more flamboyant, and out there. Because, like, I like that, like, we have all this red, we have all of this black, like, red-black contrast, the orange, everything going on up here, like, the jars of napalm and everything. And then a fairly, like, not very aggressive or attention grabbing trousers that are just sort of like well-tailored normal pants, but then the shoes kind of, I feel like the shoes need a little something something, right? Like maybe a little flame decal, like a little something something to kind of go, oh, because it feels like he's supposed to be the style character, right? He's supposed to be stylish, he's supposed to be kind of suave, he's supposed to have like a lot of panache, and the lower half here feels a little bit too boring for that, but like, come on, that's he kind of looks like he could be kind of it's a fine edge you have to walk, right, between when someone is like cool and when someone's kind of like sort of like cringe and annoying. As a character design, I think this kind of manages to walk the line. Like, it goes too far, but it goes just the right amount of too far, right? Like, because it's the hat over the face and the glasses and the fucking thing and the finger gun. So it's all of that shit together. It pushes it over the top into this slightly camp, right? Like, it's a little bit too much, but like in a fun way. At least for me, I think this is kind of like it. Again, it depends on how they do storytelling with him. He definitely needs a better run cycle. But like at a baseline, this is a design where I kind of go, okay, you could be the most annoying motherfucker in the world, but I'll give you a chance. Is that literally just like a gremlin? Or I guess a gargoyle? Oh, that's cool. Okay. I mean, shit, you don't get this kind of character design in a lot of games, do you? That's one thing about, like, I don't play Dota. I tried for a while back in my League of Legends days, when I was still playing League of Legends very actively. I tried to get into Dota. I just couldn't really, vibe with it. I didn't really like the feel of the gameplay. Not to say that it's a bad game, just like it wasn't what I was looking for at the time. I was like, and Dota, like, one of the things I have with Dota is that sometimes its character design is brilliant. Sometimes its character design is like, oh shit, like this has so much personality, this has so much like flavor, this is like something that's very specific and very different from what you get in any other game. And then occasionally it was really boring. Occasionally it was like really like, oh my fucking god, like even more boring than League of Legends character design can be sometimes. And not with nearly as much of a sense of like stylishness as League has. This feels kind of Dota to me. Again, with the caveat that I don't engage very deeply with Dota. Maybe that's just like maybe that's a Boss Baby thing. I'm sort of a guy who's only seen Boss Baby, getting Boss Baby vibes from the next movie he watches. Maybe that's the thing. I am getting a little bit of sort of Dota hero design aesthetic vibe from this character. Interesting. I'm going to take her into the sandbox as well immediately, because I kind of want to see... Partly because, again, I couldn't really see her so good. Oh, I like that. Okay, so look, see how she's got, like, the IV, the 4 tattoo on the shoulder blade? So clear... So is that where she got the name? Okay, so this looks like a crossbow. It fires like a Tommy gun. That's a little bit weird. I thought that would be a crossbow. Why does it have the crossbar then? Is that...
I'm with you. I got this.
But she is definitely a gargoyle. Okay, I see. What does that do?
No one will be able to harm me. Sometimes friends need a lift. The team's counting on me.
Okay, so... Gain bonuses and automatically connect with a nearby ally to share them. Healing is replicated among all those connected. Okay, cool. Stone form. Turn yourself into impervious stone and smash into the ground, stunning and damaging enemies nearby. You have some air control before falling. Cool. And then...
Hope you don't mind the pickup.
Okay, so this allows you to... Okay, so that allows you to fly and maybe pick up an ally. Yes, with an ally or a bomb. So it's either you get like a huge AoE, or else you can do some like really good AoE support. Okay, cool. What's that language? Is that Spanish? Get a speed buff from that. And then we have, like, the ivy, right? Like, literally ivy. Literally, like thorned ground. Okay. So, she cannot air jump twice, so she doesn't have flight. at a baseline. Fair enough. Okay, cool. Okay, so we have, like, I like the skin here. Okay. Oh, I see. Okay. I'm getting a good look on some details on her character design. I really like the tail. The tail, like, look how the tail has, like, the spike on it. Looks like a spire on, like, a cathedral or something like that. Cool hairstyle as well. Okay. There's some clipping issues going on with this character model, but again, unfinished game, so I guess fair enough. The Ivy's cool. Okay, let me just go back. Let me just go back. Okay. So, Gargoyle, then. So she has, like, this skin texture that's kind of like marble. Like, that's kind of rock-like. I feel like they could do a little bit more with that, but, like, no. Okay, that's really neat. She has, like, these shackles around her legs, and I think also around her wrist that sort of imply the idea that once she was trapped or, chained up somewhere, which, like, is that a thing of, like, she was once a gargoyle that, like, sat on a building, but then some magic brought her to life, so now she's unshackled from the... Is that what the idea is? But it certainly seems like she, like, because that seems to me to be kind of the idea of the Ivy, right? Like, is that she was someone who sat on a building for a long time. She was overgrown with vines and ivy. Then some magic happened, and now she's free, and she can kind of use the ivy as magic power kind of thing. That would be sort of my read on it. I like the cap. The cap has a lot of personality. Without the cap, I think her character design would just come across as kind of, like, just, like, kind of personality-less. She would just kind of come across as, like, this is a monster who's going around trying to kill people. The cap gives her, like, a lot of spunk, like a lot of personality in a sense of, like, oh, this is someone who has a sense of fashion. I've talked about this before, but hats are really, really powerful as character design tools because you put a hat on someone, you recontextualize almost everything about them, right? It doesn't matter what kind of character design you have from, like, the neck down. If you put, like, a propeller hat on that character, they're silly. They're silly and they're fun, right? Like, doesn't matter. Like, any character, like the fucking Heavy from TF2, propeller hat on his head. He's silly now. Like, fucking, Viego from League of Legends. Propeller hat on his head. He's a silly boy now, right? Like, hats are really powerful in terms of defining the vibe of a character. I like this flat cap, like this big, soft, like, heavy flat cap, like, down over the face. That's, like, that has sort of a working class vibe. That has a little bit of, like, oh, this is, like, someone who's, like, practically minded or, like, enjoys comfort. Like, that implies a bunch of interesting things about the character. Love the hairstyle as well. Okay, so, like, the vines and the ivy overgrowing the gun are, like, that's a compelling visual element, and I guess that makes sense in terms... I'm still confused about the crossbar there. Like, I don't know why her machine gun has a crossbar. Like, what that does. In terms of the character design, because that's, like, to me, when I see that, I go, okay, this is like a crossbow then, so it's, she shoots, like, one powerful arrow, but she doesn't do that, she rapid fires, and I'm like, I'm not sure how to read that. Let's read the background. That's a long background, this is the biggest one yet. The gargoyle didn't know what was happening when it sprang to life, just that a big human and a small human were being hurt, and so the gargoyle leapt into action, sending the attackers fleeing in horror. The small human said thank you and asked the gargoyle's name. The gargoyle didn't have one, so the small human said, I'm gonna call you Ivy. The gargoyle, being covered in ivy at the time, thought it was a bit obvious, but decided to go along with it for the small human's sake. The humans asked if Ivy could come home with them so they could show their appreciation, and so Ivy walked with them. That night she learned much. The family were called the Arroyos. The little one, Sophia, Mofongo is what they called a plate of deliciousness. But most importantly, she learned that the people attacking them were called the Mendoza Syndicate, and they were hurting people, nice people like the Arroyos. 18 years have passed since the day the Arroyos took Ivy home, and during that time she's made it her mission to dismantle the Mendoza Syndicate and free Spanish Harlem from its grasp. Spanish Harlem, shit, that's cool. Was there a Spanish Harlem? Because, like not being an American, I've only ever heard of Harlem in the context of, like, the black community that sort of historically lived there. I guess there was a Spanish Harlem as well? Or is that, like, an invention that they've made for, like, this alternate universe thing that they're doing? Either way, cool. If there is a Spanish Harlem, I need to read about it. That sounds cool. However, the thing about dedicating your life to a single pursuit for nearly 2 decades is that you don't really know what to do once you achieve it. For the first time in her life, Ivy's prepared to venture outside of Spanish Harlem and see what the world has to offer beyond vigilante justice. Okay, yeah, so, like, the character design definitely reads. I managed to catch a bunch of what was actually going on with the lore there. Not completely, but yeah, like, it definitely reads in a lot of ways. I like the Ivy, the 4. I thought for sure she was named for the... At first, that she was named for the 4 on her shoulder blade. Now, the 4 is interesting as a character design feature because, like, much the same thing, like, that used to be the thing with Vi in League of Legends, right? Like, Vi sort of implied 6. Like, oh, is that because she's, like, the 6th of, like, 5 children? Like, people used to have fan theories about that. With her, it's like, okay, there's a 4 on her shoulder blade. Does that mean there's at least 3 others, right? Like, does that mean there's 3 other gargoyles, and maybe some of them come to life like her, or maybe she has, like, a evil counterpart who's been brought to life by an evil person instead? Like, raised to be a... like, whatever. But I do like that. Like, that's quite cool. I think maybe the stone texture of her skin, like, there's a few more things they could do there. Like, because I really like the tail, which is like the spire of like a building, right? If they took that and brought it up a little bit into the rest of the character model as well, like like maybe on her shoulders she also had like little things that look like architectural features or something like that. Oh shit! I should actually pay attention. I should have paid attention while I was in the sandbox. What does she look like in her statue form?
What can
I don't know if it...
I'm a work of art.
Oh, sweet.
I got this.
Okay, it doesn't seem to change.
This story isn't over yet.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to change much about her character design, but it does definitely...
Necesitas mucho más que eso para matarme.
Definitely Spanish. I caught it this time. It does bulk her up. It does, like, make her more angular and, like, sort of thicker in a lot of her proportions. I think, like, at least for this gargoyle form, they could, again, like, do some things to add, like, more architectural features, like, things that look like stuff that's coming off from buildings. Because I do feel like the body right now, with the texture that it has, a little bit more could be done to make that look like, you know, this is a gargoyle body, right? This is like a body made of stone that was attached to a building once upon a time. But that's just nitpicking, really. That's a very cute design. I like her. Like, she's scrappy, right? Like, she looks scrappy. Like, the hairstyle especially kind of does that a lot. She looks scrappy. She looks like she's someone who, like, working class, lives on the streets kind of thing. Or knows the streets.
Looky what I got here.
Early, yeah. They definitely need better item names or a better interface for this, because this interface just doesn't match the whole rest of the game at all. But again, early game. Like, they'll improve upon it, I'm sure. All perks. I guess I have that now. Can't get any more air jumps, though.
Hope you don't mind the pickup.
And then space ends the...
Need a lift?
But you can sort of determine how far up you want to rise. Okay, cool. So, like, does that give me mobility over buildings and stuff? Oh, interesting. Whee! Ba-boom.
Attack now!
Right, so that... So you attach a vine to an ally, and then that heals them. Okay, cool.
They think they're in control?
Gadoosh. Okay, cool. I like her. She's cool. Kelvin. Of course he's named after temperature. Is this the ice guy? I have a vague feeling that this guy might be the ice guy who does ice things with ice. Kelvin. I wonder if he's related to Lord Kelvin. That's funny. Okay, that's a little on the obvious side, but that's not a bad thing necessarily. Is he also Scandinavian? Is he like from Iceland or whatever? Is that where they're in? No, he's a famed adventuring scientist. Kelvin made it his life's mission to explore and understand the unknowable, so naturally when rumors surfaced regarding an 8th astral gate hidden in the Arctic, Kelvin couldn't help but build an expedition team fast enough. Assembling the brightest minds of his generation, Kelvin and his team set forth. So this is like a Shackleton. Okay, like he's a like wilderness explorer of the old sort. who used to go on expeditions to places and vanish. Okay, cool. They never returned. A year and a half later, the frozen body of Kelvin was found by a fishing trawler, his corpse clutching a rock etched with glowing runes. The crew chipped away at the ice looking to get a closer look at the body and was shocked when Kelvin opened his eyes. They checked his vitals. There was no pulse. They sought to bandage his open wound. There was no blood, and yet impossibly, Kelvin was alive. Having no memory of what happened to the expedition, Kelvin is looking for answers. Okay, so he's a revenant, basically. He's like a Draugr, almost. So this would be the rock with the runes that's like empowering him and keeping him alive. So the idea here is this is like an old-timey Arctic explorer type, who's like still wearing like the cleats and like the boots and everything from when he was out on the expedition. Okay. I don't know if I think the big fur collar thing works for that. Like that feels more like, yeah, like because like I'm thinking back to like pictures and images I have of like these early polar explorers and things like that. I don't think I saw a lot of fur pelts like that, in part because a fur pelt like that doesn't actually warm you. Like if you're wearing a fur pelt like that just over your shoulders, that's not really necessarily a great protection against like the cold. Like, you have to be wearing them in a specific way. You usually use them as lining on the inside of something rather than just wearing them over your shoulders. So that's, to me, that feels a little incongruous. Like, I feel like he should have more of the sort of, again, maybe it's the posing. Like, he's definitely got a backpack. That kind of looks like he's got a map or, like, a bedroll slung across his back. That's all very cool. And that kind of works with it. I do feel like a little bit more like maybe, like, snow glasses or something with a big hood on it. Like, he has the hood kind of on the collar here, but something that reads more specifically like a big hood rather than this sort of fur pelt over his shoulders. That it also, I will say, the fur pelt here, it doesn't really look that good in this game's like very low poly aesthetic right now. Again, something that might be addressed further on down the line. Yeah, he's got, like, this rock, and it's... okay, it's his bedroll. Yeah, that makes sense. Like, definitely, now that I can see, like, the rest of the equipment that he's got, that feels more like, okay, this is, like, an explorer type. And the coat, like, the parka definitely helps. I'm genuinely not a fan. I'm genuinely really not a fan of the collar. Like, of the fur collar over the side. Like, that feels a little bit... that feels stereotypical in a way that's, like, divorced from the inspiration. Because, again, I'm going off memory here. Like, I'm not like a fucking polar explorer expert or whatever, but my feeling is, my memory of what polar explorers look like doesn't really include this kind of, like...
I need to kill recruits. I really hate it when I use this. It's about to get cold out there. This should keep me safe.
Okay, he has a Scandinavian accent. If he's called Kelvin, then surely he should have a British accent. Like... or was he French? Like, something. Like, but... like, come on. Kelvin is not a Scandinavian name. Because, like, I would love it if he was, like, based on one of the great, some of the great Scandinavian explorers, right? Like, some of the...
to improve my powers.
like, that would be cool, but he doesn't really seem to be.
Throwing grenade!
Arctic Beam. Which is like crowd control, okay.
There's no escape.
Oh, is that like a... allies rapidly regenerate health and enemies are slowed. Oh, cool. Interesting, okay. Yeah, like, a lot about this, like, I like the runestone. I wish I could get a better look at it. Okay, hang on. Let me just get away from... hey, air dodge. Okay. Because, like, the inscriptions on the runestone, like, the way that they're drawn... I wonder if that is actually based on, like, old Inuit... or, like, indigenous, like, Greenlandic... like, those specific design styles. I don't know enough about them to say, but that would be cool if they were. Kind of looks like a wishbone, almost. Or, not a wishbone, what are they called? Like, those Those bones that look like that, I think I've seen them before. I don't remember their name. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I'm not a huge fan of the pelt, and I wish the gun made more sense with the rest of him also. Oh, wait, hang on. What was that? Oh, that's the melee attack. Do they all have that? So you have a charged melee attack, and you have a punch normal melee attack. Okay. All right. Failed dash jump timing. Oh, cool. Oh, so you can like literally do like so if you jump out of okay, but that requires more stamina. So if you jump out of a dash, you get like a but that's expensive in terms of resources. I see. Cool. That rules. So environment design wise, this feels very modern in a lot of ways, in a way that the rest of the game kind of doesn't. Like, I'm thinking especially about this graffiti here, like, which makes me think, I don't actually know that much about the history of graffiti. Like, when did people start to do that kind of graffiti on walls? Because it feels like that wouldn't be a feature of, like, the 1930s, 20s, 30s, like this sort of old-timey Americana thing that the game is going for. But maybe it's just, like, placeholder assets, who knows. Anyway, doesn't matter. Yeah, okay. Like, so the comparison with Concord, right? Like, one of the things about Concord that bothered me is that the characters often felt like they didn't have, like, a specific source of power that communicated, like what their function is within a fight. That's something this game doesn't have any problem with. Like, this guy is, like, he's fireman with the fire and the like, you're not in doubt about where his abilities come from. This lady is, like, okay, she has the guns with, like, the things, like, down the thing, like, she has the gun powers that do the gun things, and, like, she's an assassin type. You kind of get that. With him, it's the bow, right? And with her, like, she's a gargoyle. She's a little magic creature of some sort. Like, she has the wings, she has the thing. Like, you see she's a gargoyle. You kind of get how she gets, like, her magic powers. Like, what it is that she can do. Same thing with him. The big glowing rock on his back is a big clue. And they are very unique from each other in a way that the Concord characters aren't, right? Because, like, plenty of these characters are, like, they have outfits, right? Like, that they wear that are, like, a part of their character design. This guy with his coat, for example. But they are also costumes. And that was sort of the thing I was missing with Concord, is that the characters were just kind of wearing outfits that weren't really their costume, right? And when I say costume, I don't mean Spirit Halloween, necessarily. I mean costume in the sense of this entire outfit, like everything that they're wearing, everything that they've got going on, like, is a unique expression of them specifically in a way that it couldn't be for anyone else. And a lot of the Concord characters kind of felt like the clothes they were wearing is like, yeah, someone else could probably wear that. That could probably be someone else's outfit as well. Which, again, depending on the context, is completely fine, right? Like, if for a sitcom, you, like, usually all the characters wear clothes that, like, look like someone a normal person could. Like, the characters on Friends constantly wore clothes that were, like, normal clothes that normal people would wear because that was the point of the story. But when it's a hero shooter, right? When it's about this magic New York, whatever the hell is going on here, or it's about, like, these are space mercenaries doing, like, heists and shit out in the galaxy, you would kind of want them to, like, all feel very specific and unique to themselves in a way that, like, no one else could possibly pull off this kind of style kind of thing, right? And that's something this game has definitely gotten successful. Oh, hello. Okay, interesting. Can you see her bones in her arm? That would be quite cool. So the fur collar, right? Like, this is like she's wearing the mink fur thing over on her shoulders, like very the like femme fatale. You're not in doubt. Like, you see her, first of all, you see the magic, like, glowing green arm, and you kind of get, oh, okay, that's her source of power. That's her, like, special thing about her. But, like, that's kind of funny, because, like, that's a classic sort of like old time, like a sort of a like film noir femme fatale thing, is like having the big feather boa or like the big, like, fur thing over her shoulders that she kind of takes down and reveals the shoulders when she's being seductive, kind of thing. That's definitely what's going on here, but they've kind of just gone, what if we did that, but we just made it really big? It's like, yeah, we're doing that, but we're doing the most, right? It's not just like a fur, like a fur They must have a name. A collar, a boa, whatever they're called. There's not just the fur collar, it is the most fur collar. It's like the hugest, the biggest. If it even is made of fur. Hang on, let me take you into the sandbox. It is supposed to be made of fur, right? Again, oh yeah, definitely. This is like a mink. That's a hell of a posture you have on the hand there, lady. I think the idea of that hand posture is that it's supposed to be like she's holding in like a crooked... Oh, she has like... Oh, there's a padlock around her arm. Okay, I get it. This is like a curse. This is like something bad that might kill her if it's allowed to progress into her body. So it's supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be kind of crooked and fucked up because it's like poisoning her.
I paid the price. Now die! Blood is but one path to power.
And she's French.
I spend life to take life.
Or not?
My essence will slice through them.
Huh.
Today, Oathkeeper receives his payment in spades. Die!
So it's life drain.
It starts with a simple cut.
What's her accent?
You will suffer.
Is that supposed to be French? Soul exchange. Swaps health levels with the target. Oh. Oh, that's a... That's a very specific... Oh, headshots matter. Okay, cool. That's a very specific... Like, that's a hero who can do some crazy shit, but you need to be good at her. Holy shit.
This is just a taste of what's to come.
Right, that is French, right? Except sometimes she sounded English. Is that the idea that she has like 12 different accents that she swaps between? I was expecting her to have like the sort of transatlantic femme fatale thing. But okay, so the arm is cursed. That makes sense that like the posture there would be kind of awkward and weird then. That makes sense. If it's like a cursed arm that's like draining her life or slowly killing her in some way, that makes perfect sense. Okay. Interesting. Classic femme fatale. Let's get back to the sandbox so I can look at her better. Or look at her different. I didn't catch that was a padlock. Okay, that makes sense. So she has like a cursed arm that's like all fucked up inside and she's like locked it off so it can't like progress to the rest of her body. And like, so the big fur collar there, and it really needs better texture. Like, it's supposed to be sort of a sable or a mink or something, right? Like with these sleek like lines down the thing. It needs a different like it needs an actual fur texture. It needs like something, because like, again, early access, I get it, it's a game in progress, they're not finished with it yet, but this like really needs like a better fur texture because like that it looks a little plastic. But I like that, like, as a sort of cartoony, exaggerated expression of that specific archetype. Is like, yeah, that is quite eye-catching. And, like, it gives her, like, like, first of all, it enhances, like, the hourglass figure of the character, right? Like, by literally making the top of the hourglass wider. And it enhances, like, the archetype, and it gives a sense of power to her as well. Like, that's the sort of, like, because, like, it's a demonstration of wealth. That's a really expensive accessory to have. That's why it's so common on, like, these, like, high society, femme fatale, like, Black Widow characters, right? It's because, like, it's an expression of, I have a lot of money to spend on fancy things. Like, that's what the idea of it is. So that makes good sense on this character. I quite like her. She's quite cool. I don't know about the hairstyle. Mostly because it, like, no, but it makes sense. Like, my immediate thought was that the hairstyle, like, this big, poofy, like, very voluminous, like, standing up, like, swept over the side, that felt like a little bit much. But then on the other hand, when she has this giant fur collar, it needs to be that big. Because something needs to enlarge her head. Her head needs to be made a little bit larger in size. Otherwise, like, if you removed the big hair and it was just the head sitting on top of the collar there, I think that would look silly. That would probably look very out of proportion. So I think the big hairstyle is probably needed to balance out the proportionality here. So that, I guess that makes sense. I feel like, again, like, the hairstyle, there's something about that feels a little bit like... This is where, like, I'm struggling with the knowledge that I have, because I'm thinking about, like, old-timey noir movies and, like sort of mid-century fashion and like 20s and 30s, like what was high society fashion like back then. I don't think the hairstyles were like that. Like, I think they had a different vibe, like, even when they were, like, big, but don't quote me on that because I'm not actually sure. But it feels modern to me is the thing. Like, it feels like a very modern hairstyle. And, like, I might want to go with something more classical for a character like this. Like, because, like, again, if the idea is that this is someone who's clothed herself in the aesthetics of, like, upper crusts, like wealthy society of, like, the time sort of thing, it would feel like she would have something that's, like, more specifically period accurate to the thing. But again, I don't actually 100% know if it is period accurate. It might be. I don't know. I like the feather in her hair, like with the little hair accessory, the clip there. That's quite good. Again, something that adds a little bit more like visual size to her head. Like, not in the sense of making the head look bigger, but in the sense of things that are above the collar take up more physical space in the world. I think that aids the proportionality. Again, I think maybe that could be a little bit more elaborate. I'm kind of missing a little bit of gold on her. Or silver. Like, because she has the big green glowing arm. I think that would pair really nicely with silver. Maybe not so much with gold, but silver would definitely pair well with that. And I'm kind of looking for that a little bit. I think maybe she has some on her earring over there. Maybe the hair could be, like, silvery gray instead of, like, that purple-pink thing they've got going on. But the pink, like, pink-purple works really well with green, though. So, don't quote me on that. I like that. That's quite good. It's definitely some unfinished texture work going on here, some weird reflections happening, but early... Hey, hang on, I should read her lore. Once Lady Jeanne Geist was the toast of the town, but as time passed and her beauty faded, of course... Oh, okay. Really? Are we doing that? Okay. She found herself further and further from her glory days in high society until she was nothing more than a frail woman in a nursing home telling stories of a glorious past. And that's when the Oathkeeper revealed himself. A powerful spirit from another plane, Oathkeeper offered her a path to reclaim her past glories. He could restore her youth. All she had to do was drain the essence of the living to sustain herself. Geist was torn. Obviously, murder was a ghoulish business, and undoubtedly the Oathkeeper was not an entity that could be trusted, but still, the thought of having a second chance of reliving her youth was too good to pass up. And so she concocted a plan. After making a pact with Oathkeeper, she would bind and ward him, limiting his influence and pull over her. That's the thing, yeah. Oathkeeper would still get fed, but on her terms, not his. However, as years have turned to decades, the strength of the ward has weakened, and Oathkeeper hungers more than he ever has in the past. Yeah. Like the fucking like vain woman who's like upset at growing old kind of thing. That's an old tired ass trope that's a little bit boring, because that kind of paints her as just kind of like this shallow idiot, who's like, oh, if only I was young again. I'm a woman. My only value is in my youth and my beauty. Like that is a little tropey. It's a little, but like, because the part of this that I really like is that she fucking turns it around on him, right? Like it's like, oh yeah, we can take the deal, but she's smarter than him because she has the experience, right? Like she's smart enough to know, yeah, no, we're gonna lock you away, buddy. Like you're not gonna get to like have free reign over my body. I'm gonna put a ward on you and like make sure you can't control me. That makes more sense. Like that she's cunning, that she's resourceful, that she's crafty. Because, like, this whole thing of, like, growing old as a woman means that you're just kind of, like, worthless and sad and you're sitting in a nursing home. For me, it would be more like, what if, like, I would have liked the idea of, instead of her being, like, an old, frail woman in a nursing home who's, like, desperate to recapture her youth and glory and beauty, if it was more like, this is, like, an old mafia matriarch who's, like, run a crime family for, the past 70 years, and now she's in a nursing home and she's frail and she's feeling her grip on power, like, fade as she, like, loses her faculties and, like, the effects of age just slow her down, and she makes this deal with the demon because, like, no, I'm gonna hold on to my power because fuck you, like, where it's more, like, about her ambition rather than her, like, sort of futilely grasping for a youth that can never truly be recaptured. It's a trope that I don't like. It just annoys me. But no, like, a cool character design. The padlock thing, I couldn't see that in here, but that's a really nice little detail. That's such an analog, like, oh yeah, like, if you were in the 1920s crafting an arcane ward against a demon that's possessing your arm, sure, you'd use, like, a padlock, right? Why not? Period accurate. Here's some more unfinished textures, good lord. Hello, Lee Sin, I guess. This is, like... This is like knockout Lee Sin. This is ye olde Mr. Fisticuffs, huh? This is Captain Punchman with his brass knuckles and, like, yeah. I mean, okay. Not a lot of subversion of the archetype, but I do wonder about the thing on his back. Hang on. Again, into the hero sandbox. I need to see that. Is that like a power generator that like makes him able to punch harder, or is it... No, it's a thing with rope on it. That allows him to... It's a grapple?
I can do this all day.
Cool, Captain America.
I can't wait to send them airborne. They can try to run. It's not going to work out well for them, but they can try. I am ready to get my hands dirty.
They get too close, they'll regret it. Oh my god. You thought you were making progress.
Oh, he can actually... You'd think that his... Okay, that does do kind of a chunk of damage, huh? So he has a ranged attack, but I guess that's much weaker than, like, his punch. No, this definitely seems like the better damage output. But maybe the... Okay, that might have better DPS. Okay. And then, like, that's a lifesteal thing. Yeah.
I should find a place to train up.
Okay, so what does grapple work on? Towards a target. Using it restores one stamina charge in all air jumps. So you could jump, air jump, grapple, jump. Okay, cool. And then air dash. I see. Neat.
I got your number, baby.
Die. You don't got what it takes.
Okay, genuinely not 100% sure what that is. Focus on enemies to connect whips to them. Oh, I see. So we need some enemies to...
We're not losing to them. You're mine.
Does that only work on heroes, then, or...?
Night-night.
I guess. It doesn't seem to work on these guys, anyway. Whoa, I'm dead. Ah! Okay, I'm not dead. I'm dead. Okay. So this is Punch Man Mac Boxer Face, right? He's the boxer punch man who punch boxes. That's sort of that seems to be like the long and short of him. I am interested in the gadgets that he's got. I'm interested in like the lash that drains health for some reason. I'm not really sure about that. Like the whip that he has, and like this tech punch gauntlet, like old-timey tech punch gauntlet that he has. That seems to be very focused around like grappling with people. Like grappling, like using ropes and stuff to pull people around. That feels more like a climber almost. Like that feels like something like if he was a mountain climber or something. Or some other kind of outdoorsy athlete sort of thing. Which I'm not really sure how to parse that in the context of him being an old-timey McFisticuffs guy. He's definitely, like, with the big chin, right? And the mustache, and, like, the sort of, like, the hair, like that's slicked back, clearly, but then, like, also a little bit disheveled, like, with a little tuft of hair flying around. That definitely sort of says, well, it could equally be, like, gentleman boxer. No, he's not a gentleman. He's got a tattoo. He's, like, no, so he's definitely got to be, like, underground guy, then. Or sailor. Like, he could be a member of the nobility, but if he was, like, someone who, like, went out to sea or something, and, like, led a rough life away from, like, the strictures of, like, whatever, but it feels more working class than that. He really also looks unfinished. He looks, wow. Jacob Lash is an asshole. Yeah, I could tell from his... I could tell from his voiceover. He's an asshole. Cool. Yeah, I got it. All right. That's lore, baby. I mean, I guess they're working on it. Okay, so Punch Fist Mag old-timey pugilist guy. That works, and like the twist on it is that he has the rope machine thing there with like the lash and the whip and like the whatever. I thought for sure that it was gonna be that he was able to like throw his punch, and then his fist like flies out and hits people from a distance. I thought that was what this was. Not so much. He has the flog, like he has a whip somewhere in this. Really kind of feel like the whip should be an evidence on his character. Like, more obviously. He has, like, a whip, and he can grapple. That's what those things are for. I just kind of wish, like, that gauntlet, that glove thing came into play. Again, maybe that's something they're working on. Who knows? But I feel like when you have a tech punch gauntlet that looks like that, it shouldn't just be a gun, right? Like, it shouldn't just be, oh, yeah, that's the one that bullets come out of. Like, at that point, just give him a gun, then. But I also feel like if he has a ranged attack, right? If everyone needs to have a ranged attack, because it's like a third-person shooter thing, surely his should be that he, like, throws punches. Like, that he throws punches and they go really far. And, like, rather than being, like, a rapid-fire thing, like, he throws a few punches, not nearly as fast as anyone else, but, like, with way more damage. Like, that feels like the idea here. Because if this is just, like, a gun, then it's very silly that it looks like it looks like a punch gauntlet, like a boxing glove. That's kind of silly to me. But, like, okay, he's an asshole. Who cares? McGinnis! Oh, it's McGinnis! With the railgun thing that she's got going on here. Okay. So we've got, like, welding mask. We've got, like, a big sort of like, workman's apron. We've got, like, the big, heavy sort of boiler suit. Pants. And, like, a hammer. And, like, this, like, backpack that's clearly full of something. Like, we're dealing with, like, an inventor-technician kind of character, right? Very obviously. Little bit of Zarya in that gun there. Like, is that also like a lightning gun? She places turrets. She's the engineer. Of course she's the engineer. Doi. Of course she's the engineer. She places walls. She can do a barrage. I kind of want to see her in the sandbox as well. I guess we should just do this for all the characters. I see. It's like the ramp up. She has like the heaviest minigun. Oh, cool.
Let's work on those turrets. I know a thing or two about building walls. If this misfires, my team won't let me hear the end of it. They think they hate fighting me now. Time for some demolition. Been waiting to test this for a while. Sometimes turrets aren't enough. Releasing spirits.
Oh, that's fun. The range is substantial. Damn, that's artillery right there. How far can I deploy it?
Setting up a turret.
All the way out there. Okay, cool.
Putting down a turret.
I might like to play as her.
Need some healing?
And she deploys like a healing zone. Okay, cool.
Walls out.
And... oh, I see. Okay.
Sending out a wall.
That's an interesting way to place it.
Don't let them out-position us.
That's an interesting way to place it. So I guess that would
Time to block them off.
gain size as you... is that something I can traverse? No, it's a wall for everyone. Fair enough.
This is our battlefield.
Why does the wall look like goop? Is that because, like, she's made, like... okay, it's goop, but it has, like...
Wall incoming.
but it has, like, tech stuff on top of it. Okay. Which sort of implies that, like, okay, this is, like, some device that she has that can, like, extrude, like, a wall of hard goop.
My powers.
Interesting, okay.
Gotta get as many of these up as I can. Gotta build me some backup. Need more firepower. All right, buddy, give them hell. Time for a little help. Turrets online.
No limit to how many turrets you can have online at once, but I guess they'll have, like, a time limit on them.
Turrets up.
Yeah, lifetime, yeah.
Defenses are up. Who needs to pick me up? All right, buddy, give them hell. Oh, I can't let the turrets have all the fun.
But it does fire in an arc, so it's, like, non-trivial to... okay, so can the wall actually block that thing from even firing at me when I'm behind it? Oh, it's definitely got the beam trained on me, but it can't hit me. Cool.
a little help.
Interesting. Okay. I probably should have seen this earlier, but she's like a Rosie the Riveter character, right? Like, that seems to be the... I thought with a name like McGinnis, that should be Scottish. Apologies to the nation of Scotland. But okay. Cool. Right. I do like that's a classic sort of engineer character. I don't know that I like this gun as like a rotating minigun kind of thing. This feels so much like it's supposed to be a railgun. Like, this feels so much like it's supposed to be like some kind of like magnetic acceleration weapon or something like that. So like the fact that it's just like a railgun, it feels a little bit off with the character design. Like, it works for the ultimate, obviously, but I don't know about like this just being like a minigun kind of thing. I feel like it should be designed to reflect that a little bit more. Like, maybe in most of the gameplay, it's like a minigun, like it looks like a minigun, but then you activate the ult, and then like it presses a button and it transforms into the artillery barrage thing. That would make sense to me as a thing more than this thing shooting out minigun bullets, but you know, whatever. Again, game in progress. I'm sure something will happen if they finish it. Like, it's a Valve game. Who knows? They might never finish this game. I like her. I like that she's dirty. Like, I do feel like, I can't quite tell, but it kind of looks like she's got makeup and like plucked eyebrows. If you were gonna do that, like, I feel like either the makeup should be more spectacular and, like, specifically demonstrative, or else it shouldn't be there. Like, because the idea is this someone who's, like, all about practicality, all about, like, no, we're gonna get the work done on time. Like, I'm a person working in a workshop. I don't have time for, like, makeup and, like, making myself look pretty. That's sort of what I'm getting from the fact that she's, like, dirty and smeared with, like, engine grease or whatever, and that she's not wearing any kind of fancy clothes. But then she seems to kind of be wearing makeup on her face regardless, which is like a thing that's like, okay, but that's what you do when you care about your appearance and you want to look baseline certain thing to the people that you're talking to. So does that make sense for this character? Because like the idea of having the contrast of having someone who's like on the one hand like a sweaty, swarthy engineering type, but then on the other hand also has like a perfect, flawless, like beautiful face of makeup, that could be an interesting character beat. It's just... this feels like more like she's wearing makeup because of if she doesn't wear makeup, then people can't tell if it's a girl kind of thing. Like, it feels like that, and that kind of sucks. Like, that, like, not, like, it's understandable. Like, it's an understandable design move. It's just a boring one. Let's see. Maggie McGinnis always had a knack for building things. At 4, she was using Lincoln logs to recreate architectural marvels. At 10, she built and rewired a custom light fixture for her parents' anniversary. At 15, she designed a machine that refined the souls of the dead. That last one got a little more attention than the Lincoln logs. Now the head of Fairfax Industries' military R&D department, McGinnis spends her time in the machine shop, not in a lab. She's not interested in theory. To her, science is magic you can touch. Yeah, like, again, that feels more like... that feels like a character who would not care that much about makeup. So, like, if you're gonna do makeup on a character, it should be done with, like, intentionality. It should be used to say something about them. Or the absence of makeup should say something about them. I get annoyed when you get, like, female character, therefore eyeliner, right? Like, therefore mascara, therefore plucked eyebrows, like, therefore beauty routine. Like, regardless of who the female character is, that annoys me. Like, that to me feels very tedious. It feels thoughtless, right? Like, it feels like instead of thinking carefully about what each part of the design says, you just kind of go, fuck it, what, like, girl, because girl, then makeup. And you don't think, right? About what the design element can be used to communicate. But no, like, the communication of this character design is almost excessively clear. And, like, because I really like the railgun as, like, I like that we have, like, on the one hand, like, this boiler suit, like, this hammer, like, this sort of old-timey, a little bit, like this sort of old-timey Rosie the Riveter thing. And then on the other hand, we have some things that look, like, decidedly more high-tech than that. I like the contrast. I think that could be emphasized more. Like, I think it could be emphasized more that she wears, like, sort of shabby, old-timey, like, 1920s, 30s, like, machine shop clothes. Like really sort of, like, old-schooly, old-timey stuff. But then the equipment that she has, because she's a brilliant inventor, her equipment is, like, light years beyond what anyone else has. I think that's an interesting idea, if that's what they want to go for, and I think they could lean into that a little bit more. Because that's the thing I said about, like, Grey Talon, right? That he had this bow that feels very, very high-tech and very sleek and kind of futuristic relative to what's going on with the rest of his character design. And that to me is like, okay, but why is that? Like, what's his relationship with technology, right? Like, what does... He's using this super high-tech, like, modern compound bow thing with, like, all these mechanical fixtures and stuff. Okay, that's an interesting thing, because, like, that implies that he's, like, an old man who embraces the new world, right? Like, he's an old man who's been raised in a certain tradition, but, like, whenever, like, these tech gadgets came out that allowed him to be better at the thing that he's passionate about, he's like, hell yeah, tech gadgets, I love that shit. That gives us some information about who he is as a character, right? But it's not really clear to me that that's what it's saying. Because this feels futuristic, but it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't feel like this would be something he would be able to get his hands on, right? As a thing, which is where like I might scale back the sort of sci-fi future tech level of this thing a little bit to make it look a little bit more old-timey, but look like a very modern bow for whatever time period they're trying to emulate, right? Like a bow that looks really modern by the standards of that time, but which doesn't look like it's from a sci-fi future. Whereas on the other hand, because I would leave that, like the sci-fi future stuff, I would leave that to a character like McGinnis, who seems to be like specifically about technological advancement and like brilliant innovations and all of that. Like that's where I would take that in terms of like using technology to convey a character's relationship to that technology. Interesting. Mo and oh, okay. All right. No, we have to go on the heroes. How do you two interact? Hang on. Is there like one guy riding on the other shoulders, right? Yeah. And you have the gun. And he has the big punch. Double jump like everyone else. Okay, hang on.
We aren't afraid to get up close. It's what we do best. They won't see us coming. Who cares if it's not fair? It works. I'm not afraid to take shots. We don't back down from anyone.
Okay, so deal damage to nearby enemies and heal yourself based on damage done. So that's like a taunting thing. Yeah, that makes sense. Burrow. Oh. Oh, so he's not a pig, he's a mole rat. Is that the idea? Woohoo! Wait, hang on. What? What do you mean hold Y? Or hold space, rather. Okay, I see. Oh, cool! Zipline! Whee! Sand throw being a... disarms enemies and deals damage, yeah. Hold the target in place, stunning them and dealing damage during the channel. If they die during combo, you permanently gain max health. Oh, cool. But again, it seems to be only on heroes. Okay, so that will work on the training dummy then, right? Okay, so I thought this was a pig at first that he was riding, but it's a mole rat. And he's like, I guess a genetically engineered monkey? Or ape? What's this? Schmovement. Whee! Home guard! I see, okay. Casting. Not sure what that does. Gun. Which allows you to fire way faster. Okay, I get it, I get it. Okay, so that's... he does pretty good melee damage, yeah. But you can't shoot melee at the same time, I see. And you have to be real close to use the combo. That makes sense. Interesting. Okay, let's go back to the art screne. That's quite cool. So these are like genetically engineered lab animals that like got science somethinged, or maybe he's the scientist. Maybe Mo is the scientist. And they both got caught in an accident kind of thing, and it's like a Bebop and Rocksteady thing where they were like humans who got mutated into the thing. I don't know. One or the other would be my best guess about this. Okay, so like this is sort of a classic sort of goon henchman sort of thing with like the flat cap over the eyes. And he's just like huge, like a huge guy. But like very simple in his dress, right? Very simple in what he's wearing. And then like a huge like a huge chain around his neck because of course. Interesting. I don't know that I like this character design that much. It's like, because like when you have these double acts, right? Like usually what you're working with is you're establishing a contrast or some kind of specific synergy between them, right? That's why I think, okay, these must be like escape lab animals, like where he's the brains and he's the brawn. The small one has the intelligence and the big one has like the punch through a wall and you know, smash anything that stands in their way kind of thing, which is also emphasized by like he's riding on him, right? Like so he's literally using him to carry himself and like do the things he can't do. Which like, yes, okay. And that sort of works with Mo's face, like with those huge, like downwards turned eyebrows, and like the whole thing is like, okay, that's sort of this sort of classic evil mastermind villain sort of thing that he's got going on there. But his character design itself is like, I don't really know what to make of it. Like again, if we're doing escape lab animals sort of thing, I can't really see that from the character design. If we're doing... Let me read the background. Let me see. Mo and Krill are members of the Tunnel Rats, a group that helps facilitate illicit trade and commerce between the boroughs thanks to a network of underground tunnels. But while most denizens of the New York underworld respect the work the rats do, every once in a while a gang tries to exploit the tunnel system for personal vendettas. That's when Mo and Krill step in and remind the city what happens to those who disrespect their hospitality. Okay, so nothing there about being lab animals or anything. So they're just like creatures that exist in the world, I guess. Like that's just a natural part of the world and the ecosystem of this New York. Fair enough. I still don't really know what to make of Mo. Like, Krill seems obvious enough, right? I'm assuming Krill is the big one. Could be Mo. Like, that could be Mo. I don't actually... Hang on, did it say anywhere? It did not. I don't know which one is which one. I think maybe one of the voice lines said it, but I don't remember. I don't really know about this guy. Like, the character design says evil mastermind, right? And that kind of makes sense in terms of, like, if they're, like, gang... leaders of the New York underground smuggling thing, sort of whatever. I feel like if he was like a sort of like, I'm doing all of this gang, like, again, it's about the contrast between the characters, right? Like we have the giant mole rat is like this huge guy, dresses very simple, like lots of leather, like sort of working class aesthetics. I would say, okay, the contrast then should be maybe this guy dresses fancy, right? Like maybe this guy has like a fancy suit, or he wears like gold or like rings, or like has some kind of like aesthetic difference from him that sort of says like that these are like a double act, right? Like this is like one guy and then like sort of the other guy who's sort of his opposite, but they work together sort of thing. Or if it was more supposed to be like, I think a Nunu and Willump, right, from League of Legends. That sort of seems like a very direct comparison. Where Nunu is just like the most adorable little guy, right? Like the most adorable little child ever, like sincere and earnest and honest and open. And then Willump being his, like, essentially like an embodiment of, like, essentially his imaginary friend, right? Like that's the idea, is like this is a child and their imaginary friend, except he's real. Willump is like this big, huge yeti with like claws and like when he opens his mouth, enormous teeth, right? Like where there's this tension between how cute and fluffy and adorable he looks most of the time versus like, oh shit, this guy's actually kind of scary. What, like, because the storytelling there is that it is Nunu's childlike spirit that keeps Willump cute, and if Nunu ever were to leave him, Willump would revert to something more bestial and dangerous. So that there's this undercurrent of like, oh, there's actually kind of a scary beast lurking under the surface there, right? And that's sort of their double act, where you can see the influence that one has upon the other. I don't get a lot of sense of connection between these two. Neither aesthetically, like they sort of have the same tone of cloth, I guess, wearing, and not really in terms of like a contrast of personalities either. Because this guy looks like scary, like he's someone who like uses his claws to tear people to shreds. He looks like a big scary goon, right? And this guy looks like a small scary goon. And it's like, okay, but if they're both goons, then, like, who's the boss, right? Like, I'm not 100, like, I really like that he's a giant anthropomorphic mole rat. I think that's really cool. I think it's cool he has a burrowing mechanic. What's this guy's deal, then? He just has a gun, right? Like, he has a gun, but he doesn't really do anything. He doesn't really have an ability or, like, anything he brings to the conversation, except, I guess, he's the guy telling the big guy where to go, and he has the gun. this guy feels like he's not really necessary for what this character has got going on. Like, it feels like if you took him away and just gave this guy a gun, not a lot would change there. He wouldn't really be missing anything from the dynamic, which and especially it's the costuming. Like, I really feel like the costuming between the two of them is very boring. It makes sense on him, but on him it's like the costuming doesn't seem to say anything about him as a character. I have no sense of who this guy is as a character in this dynamic, which, like, yeah, a little mixed on that, but, you know. Oh, another bulb head. Right, okay, so that we're a little bit sort of back with my beloved Dynamo. A little bit the same concept. Are they connected in lore, then? Manipulating time lets Paradox outpace an enemy in one-on-one combat. She thrives by subjecting her enemies to timely swaps, blah, blah. So, Pulse Grenade, lots of slowing. Time Wall creates a time-warping wall that stops time for all enemy projectiles and bullets that touch it. Enemies that touch will take damage. Okay. Increase movement speed. Paradoxical Swap. Swap your position with a targeted enemy hero. Okay, so that will be, like, under a turret or a tower or those big guys with the laser beams that kill me all the time. Use that, and then you like fuck someone over real bad, or like drop them into the middle of your party composition, but you yourself get put out of position as well. Okay, cool. Yeah, like kind of the same stuff I said about Dynamo in some ways. Like, this is it like a Mysterio character? Is that kind of what we're doing? That, like, the outfit definitely has a lot, like, implies a lot of very suave personality, right? It implies that she's like like someone who has like a real sense of panache and style, like with the big collars and like the cravat around the neck and like this huge jacket. Especially the flower, especially the rose in the pinhole, like really implies a lot of like class, like a lot of like sort of I keep going back to tuxedo mask, but that's not really what I mean. Let's hear your voice lines.
Sometimes you need time tricks, other times you just need explosives. I'll stop their fire. Time to pick up the pace. One well-timed swap can change everything. This should do some work. Time to set a trap. I'll pick up the pace. Hope I get to catch someone delivering an urn. If you're gonna blow something up, you might as well do it with style. Can't wait to swap people through this. I don't have time to play fair.
Oh, so if you pass someone through the wall by using the paradoxical swap, then the time wall gets applied to them. Oh, cool.
Getting them out of position can make the difference. I should swap them through this.
Oh, I see. That's fun. Oh, you can do some shenanigans with that.
What's that?
And like her voice line acts as like the tutorial for doing that.
Time wall.
Yeah, and the longer, further away from you swap, like the bigger the... Yeah, I see. Okay, does it make a difference if it's a headshot? 36. Yes, it doubles it. Okay, it makes sense. And that's when you get, like, the headshot. Okay. So that's when you really want to land, like, a big shot. Okay.
Bombs ready. They should run.
Interesting. Okay. Is her double jump higher than anyone else's? Kind of seemed like it. Whee! I like this. Woo! I quite like the character designs of the minions also, like, because the giant candles on top of their heads, like, the body is kind of just, like, generic robots, but the candles on top of their heads, like, makes it, like, oh, it makes it kind of easy to land headshots on them. Which, like, that's a lovely little bit of mechanical conveyance from the character design there. I wonder what the significance of that is. Like, that these are candle minions, and that the towers are like these big these big braziers that flare up with fire. Like, what does that mean for the story? What's the implication there? Does it mean anything? Like, are these even what the enemies look like in the main game? I don't know. Okay, cool. So that's a very... Like, she has a fucking hourglass on her back, so it's not exactly being subtle about this character has time powers, but it's the like, the tubes, the glowing tubes running down her body that, like, that kind of make this. Okay, hang on. I like her. Like, she is, like, and this is, like, where we can talk about, like, the effect of, like I talked about with Dynamo, right? The effect of the tiny glasses, right? Like, this gives him, like, eyes, right? Like, essentially, it puts eyes on his face. So that you can, like, you sort of get the sense of an expression from him. With her, she doesn't really have an expression, right? Like, she just has this hourglass bulby thing, sort of lava lamp-ass thing floating inside of her head bulb, and that makes her inscrutable. She doesn't really have that expressiveness to her, so that makes her mysterious, right? Like, that means, like, oh shit, you can't really read who this character is. Same thing Mysterio does, right? Like, from Spider-Man. And that works quite well, like, given that she's clearly supposed to be, like, more of a mysterious character, like, someone who is, like, more of a... I guess also an action scientist support. Let's see. Paradox, an artifact of time in the name of the notorious Thieves Guild. Right, so it's a gentleman or gentle lady thief. One that prides themselves on constructing elaborate heists that target the most untouchable of individuals and institutions. What does Paradox do with the countless artifacts, state secrets, and celebrity paternity tests that they have stolen? Oh, it's a non-binary character. Cool. Oh no, Paradox is the guild, not the person. Okay, I see. Put it on display at pop-up museums so they can show the world that no one is out of Paradox's reach. Shrouded in mystery, each member of Paradox dons a mask and takes on the organization's name. Ah, they are everywhere, they're nowhere, and if they want something, they are inevitable. Right. So that would also be part of the point of the mask, right? Or the head bulb is that you don't know who this person is. So they're phantom thieves. That's the idea of it. Okay, that works really well. Like, that comes across quite well. Because that's kind of... A phantom thief, obviously. Jesus, that's what I was thinking about. Like, because what I was thinking about with Tuxedo Mask, like, the kind of character that shows up on the scene and leaves, like, a rose behind as a calling card. But that's a gentleman thief. Of course it is. It's a Persona Phantom Thief thing. Of course, the calling card. Yeah, that's where I was going. No, yeah, that makes sense. Like, that makes sense with, like, having the gloves and, like, having no part of their body showing any skin, right? So that you're not even really sure if it's a human underneath there. That makes sense for that as well. I wish I could rotate these fucking things. That, like, yeah, so it's like a gentleman thief arrangement thing. That's why the cravat. That's why the big collar. It's because it is sort of cladding itself in, like, the aesthetics of the upper class to sort of lend gentility to the thing, like, to make it sort of more noble and refined than just mere theft. That this is like showing off. This is theatrical. Okay, that makes sense. I like that. That works. Yeah. I mean, I feel maybe the coat could be more colorful. It's a mixed thing, because, like, you have all of this black, right? Like, you have all of this pitch black, and that kind of has the connotation of evil, right? Like, if a character shows up wearing, like, we saw that with what was her name? Haze, right? Like, this feels a little evil, right? Like, this feels scary at the very least, right? Like, the shadow and the darkness. Same thing kind of happens with Paradox, right? Like, that doesn't necessarily look like a good aligned character at a glance. So I guess the point of the coat being, like, this sort of, like, classic sort of brownish beige sort of thing is that this is, like, a more earth tone. This is a more neutral color. This is a color that doesn't imply, like, evil in the way that many other colors can. There are things that, like, maybe pure white would have worked with that. No, that would clash with the shirt. Then the shirt would have to be a different color. I feel like the coat is a little boring for the character, but I also could not suggest anything that's better, so what do I know? Pocket. Well, okay then. With a powerful shotgun and a thin frame, Pocket relies on their ability to briefly escape into a mystic suitcase and teleport via a flying cloak in order to survive close encounters. So are they like a magician? They would be, right? Enchanter's satchel. Okay. Huh. Okay, because I would not have caught... Oh, wait, no, maybe actually I would. Okay, so this is like... Yeah, okay. Non-binary character by the look of it, at least if they is the specific pronoun. Aaron Fairfax, the eldest heir to the Fairfax Industries, has been living in hiding in the past 5 years after being shot and left for dead on their 18th birthday. Aaron doesn't know who's trying to keep them from taking control of their parents' company, but in the avarice-fueled viper's nest that is Fairfax Industries, it could be anyone. Taking on the name Pocket, Aaron desperately wants to keep their true identity a secret, not only for their own protection, but because they want to forge their own identity separate from their parents. Okay. Okay, so that makes a little bit more sense, because I was wondering, because, like, the vest and, like, the shirt that sort of peeks out underneath it and, like, the scarf around the neck... That all has a little bit of, like, sort of, trust fund baby thing to it, right? Like, that has a little bit of the vibe of, like, a college student at, like, an Ivy League thing. Like, that's a little bit where that pointed me. And, like, the jacket, which is, like, clearly, like, tailored to the shape of their body and things like that. I kind of went, okay, this is a little bit, like, this feels a little upper crusty, right? Like, a little bit of, like, not wearing, like, fancy clothes, but, like, someone who's wearing the fashion of an upper-class situation kind of thing. And then, like, the wizard thing comes from the suitcase, right? With the glowing sigil and, like, the magic thing clearly on it. That's the thing that sort of implies any sort of magical power to this character. I guess there's a little bit of, like, a bad taste in the mouth, but a Harry Potter vibe to that, like a little bit of, like, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, Newt Scamander's sort of thing going on there as well. I'm a little bit like, because, like, okay, so this is like the heir to a industrial billionaire fortune sort of thing. Cool, that comes across with, like, the scarf and all of that. But then why the mystic suitcase? Like, what does that have to do with that? Like, why the magic powers then? That thing doesn't really seem to connect to the other thing. It just seems very random that they have a mystic suitcase. Because I was wondering if that was going to be mentioned in the lore anywhere, but no, the lore is all about, like, industrial espionage and, like inheritance disputes. There's no, like, the flying cloak and, like, the enchanter's satchel and... So, like, I thought, okay, is this like a stage magician sort of character? If they have, like, a cloak that flies and, like, an enchanter's satchel and a magic briefcase that they can disappear into. But then, no, not really. And my other thing is, like, okay, private Sherlock Holmes detective sort of thing, maybe? No, that's also not it. Or, yeah, okay. There's a lot of cool things about this character, right? Like, I do like the use of, like, you have these bangs down in front of the face and you have, like, this high collar that kind of hides their face. That sort of gives the vibe of, like, this is someone who doesn't want to be, like, recognized. Like, that sort of gives the idea of someone who's hiding themselves. But then, like, put a mask on them then. Because, like, again, if this is, like, the heir to a Fairfax Industries industrial fortune sort of high society thing, then, like, people would know their face, right? Like, so put a mask on them, surely. It's weird that they don't have, like, some sort of face mask or, like, even just, like, a mask, like a Robin mask, you know, from Batman, like a little eye mask thing. It's weird that they don't have that. And then I don't see where the hell the magic suitcase comes into this at all. Like, what does that have to do with any of what the character is about? Because, like, if we were doing, like, a sort of, like, again, hate mentioning the TERF's work, but if we were doing, like, a Fantastic Beasts riff thing of, like, this is, like, an urban wizard who lives in, like, the mystic New York of the whatever time period this is supposed to be, like, okay, cool, like, that would be neat, like, and then, like, maybe there would be some things you could do with, like, the long coat could look a little bit more like a robe, maybe, or you could do, like, there's little things you could alter about the character design to push them more towards looking like a magic person who's, like, trying to be stealth. But this is kind of incoherent. Like, this feels like it's operating on two complete, like, it feels like whoever wrote the character and whoever designed the character were operating on two completely separate wavelengths here. And this does not at all match or mesh with that, particularly. Like, with the suitcase and the thing. So this is a little bit of a messy character, I think. Like, they look cool. Like, a lot, like, the style, like, with the high, like, folded pants and, like, the thing of... It's a very cool-looking character design. It's quite appealing. It has a uniqueness to it. I don't think it coheres, though. I don't really think it comes together. Are they like a sniper? Is that why they have a rifle? Like, it looked like they have like a... Nope, that's more of a... That's a shotgun, actually.
Bet they weren't planning for this.
Launch a sentient cloak that travels forward and damages enemies. Like, that's a wizard-ass ability.
I can use this to escape or approach. I'm sorry for what I'm about to do. Today is not the day for idealism. This case is full of surprises. I can't get through this. Ready to hide. It's more comfortable than it looks. Not today.
Right, and then that explodes. I get it.
We weren't meant to wield this much power. I hope I'm not a monster for using this. Good God, what am I about to do? This needs to work.
Yeah. Right, so the idea going by, like, looking at the way the suitcase is affecting the character, right? The idea seems to be that... I can see the idea being that this character's like, they lost their inheritance and their fortune, or like they are surrounded by like corporate vipers who are trying to take their parents' legacy away from them or something like that. They find this magic suitcase somewhere, somehow.
This case isn't running out of ghosts anytime soon. You shouldn't have made the spirits mad.
And it's full of spirits and ghosts and things like that, and they use that as a tool to try and get their inheritance back or whatever, right? I can see that. As an idea. Like, that could work, I suppose, and that seems to me to be what they're sort of trying to go for, but... That's a long-ass reload, holy shit. But yeah, like, on the face of it, this doesn't really cohere. It's a very cool character design. Like, it's stylish as fuck, this character design. I like that you have this, like, visible corruption from the case that's, like, snaking up their arm. Like using this power is literally killing them. That introduces, like, a nice sense of tension. That, like, every time you pop, like, the ult, boom, it's like, this is, like, an advancement of, like, being both corrupted physically by the suitcase, but also like that it's like a moral corruption that's happening to them as they draw more and more on this power to like try and get their revenge against their parents' killers or whatever the hell. Like, I can see that, but like the wizard thing needs a little bit more, like, because like then the idea is that this is like a normie, like this is a completely normal person who has no inherent magic powers using an object that they don't quite understand, right? And at that point I would maybe do a little bit more. Yet no, I don't think the character design needs to change necessarily. It's the story that's supposed to go with it, and I would like, if this was like a normie character, like this is a normal person who's found this magical artifact that's like, that's compromising them in some way, I would probably lean a little bit more into, like, that most of them look normal, and that they don't look, like, mysterious or like they're hiding their face, but, like, they maybe look a little hapless, they maybe look a little bit like, oh shit, like, maybe I'm in over my head, rather than this very sharp, competent, badass, like, sort of slightly edgy, not really edgy going by the voiceover, like, maybe if their clothes were a little bit more disheveled or chaotic, like they weren't quite as well put together as they are, to sort of match the idea that they're, like, running around with something that's way more powerful than they actually know how to control, that would sort of work. Yeah, this, again, unfinished game, probably they're working on it, but that feels a little half-baked. Oh, okay. Is that the electric power character? Is that really? Is that who it is? Electrocutes crowds of enemies? Wow, really? I could... Is that the electric character? My, what a surprise. I couldn't tell. I joke, but okay, so we have prison garb, chains around, like, the legs. This gives, like, escaped prisoner from, like, a mad sanatorium where they were experimenting on the prisoners and, like, maybe they tried to electrocute him to death. Like, they tried to electrocute him to death. It didn't work, and he became, like, a electric ghost monster who kills people now instead. Certainly, like, there's a bit of Scarecrow about the mask there, like, or the face, with, like, this, like, devil grin and, like, the multiple, like, that might be the eye hole or something, or, like, that might be eyes, that might be in the nose, that could be anything. Like, a scary ghost guy, that's what this looks like. This looks like some kind of horrible horror monster sort of situation. And, like, with the straps around, like, the arms, I really do feel like this feels like someone who escaped from, like, the electric chair or something. Still has the prisoner number on the front. Like, okay, that's, yeah, if all you're doing is, like, scary electric-themed murder monster, then you've definitely achieved that with this character design. Oh, he has, like, the longest lore of any character. Okay. I always get snotty when I'm recording. I don't know why. When mystic energy awoke on Earth, the world changed. Anything was possible, but just because anything was possible didn't mean that anything should be possible. And so the government made rules, laws, a means for U.S. citizens to enjoy the benefits of the supernatural world in safety. But laws and rules are for lesser men with limitations, men who were not Seven. There are many rumors about what Seven did to land himself in Lost Whisper and Oubliette for the most dangerous of occultists, but there's no doubt about what happened on the night of his execution. Again, electric chair execution, I guess I called that. Wards placed by the most powerful ritualists of 7 different nations, wards designed not just to prevent mystical interference with the execution, but to simultaneously obliterate Seven's soul, so that it could never be contacted, resurrected, or otherwise used by someone looking to follow in his footsteps, failed. Onlookers viewed in horror as the strongest mentalist employed by the US Army's head popped like a grape. They screamed as Scotland Yard's premier occult investigator, the one who allegedly had captured Seven, crumbled to ash. Seven's body buckled and writhed against his restraints, his skin burning from the eldritch electricity, and yet he could not die. He laughed. He laughed as he tore himself free from his bondage. He laughed as his captors covered in fear. He laughed as he massacred his tormentors. He laughed as he tasted the fresh air that was denied to him for years. And he laughed once he thought about what he was going to do once he reached New York City. It's the jokester from the popular comic series Flying Mammal Man. Yeah, a little on the basic side. Like, it's a classic sort of kind of like amoral nihilist sort of reveling in destruction and misery, scary monster villain character, like a very classic example of the form. I like the electricity hat thing that he's got going on. Like, that's a cool, unique element of the character. Like, that works. That, like, unique silhouette, it sort of identifies a theme. It's also kind of shallow, I will say. Like, it doesn't feel like shallow in the sense of, like, it's supposed to be, clearly. Like, this is clearly supposed to be pretty shallow. That this is like, no, yeah, this is like edge-ass, sort of like Batman villain style, themed, like Silver Age of superhero comics kind of character. Maybe more Golden Age, actually. No, probably too complicated for the Golden Age, but like it's sort of in that vein, right? Like that's kind of what that feels like. Yeah, fair enough. Like, nothing wrong with that. Although you could maybe rework the lore to have like 1 or 2 less tropes in it. Shiv bleeds out foes, then goes in for a kill. Okay. So this kind of has a little bit of like this is more 70s, if anything. Like, is he supposed to be a greaser? Like, is that what they're going for? Because I'm getting more like Elvis in Vegas from those sideburns and that huge pompadour and like the jacket slung over the Hang on, let me take him into the sandbox. Now we're complicating the era, I feel. Yeah, like, I think he's supposed to be like a James Dean greaser sort of thing, but I gotta be honest, this is giving me more Elvis. I like the prosthetic arm. And I guess he has rage also. So throw a knife that damages and slows, stack, blah blah.
They'll never see me coming. Stick and move. I'll be gone before they know what hit them. I see you.
Right, so you deal damage to build up a rage meter, and you can then use that to do something. So normal human arm on one side, knife on the chest. Yeah, I really feel like this is giving more Elvis than Greaser to me. Honestly, this is more Elvis in Vegas than like sort of biker Greaser character. So that's like a dash. I see. Okay, that makes sense. And that's like the defensive ability, and then that requires a hero. Right, I see. Well, I can't die, so I might as well try and get the rage up. What happens when one of these dies? I might as well find out.
Excellent work.
Who's saying this? The patron, I guess. Whomsoever that be. Okay. Yeah, no, I'm... I don't really know about the character design. Like, this feels a little bit not of the right period, especially like with the pants and like the shoes. I'm not really sure what to make of this, because like it's supposed, like, given the mechanics, right, this is supposed to be like the bleed character who's like very violent and aggressive and like likes to be covered in blood and like gets in for the fight and like is able to defer damage. So like they can take a lot of punishment like deceptively, but they're also kind of an assassin. I don't really know about this. A loyal member of the Baxter Society and International Order of Monster Hunters, Shiv travels across North America looking to put down creatures that prey on the living. While his less polished nature and criminal past make some of the more traditional members of the society wary, no one can deny his effectiveness. I'm not getting any of that from any of this, I gotta say. That doesn't seem to connect pretty much at all for me. Like, Monster Hunter, really? Like, a little bit, I guess, with, like, the chest strap and, like, the knife strap to the chest. He has a prosthetic that's, like, made of wood, like a wood panel prosthetic with his gun, and then he's holding his jacket over his shoulder, and it's like, okay, so he's supposed to be like a monster hunter who has like a criminal past, but who's like out to defend the populace against like the worst, scariest beasts that the world has to offer, kind of thing. Like, I'm not really getting none of that. Like, if he's supposed to have like a dangerous criminal past, then you'd think he would look rougher, right? Rather, he looks very fashionable, right? Like, he looks very fashionable. He has the pompadour. He has like the nice like red flamboyant pants. Like, he looks very flamboyant in his design in general, and it's like, okay, so is he supposed to be, like, rough around the edges and dangerous and, like, yeah, not playing by the rules? Or is he supposed to be, hey, pretty mama, right? Like, what am I supposed to get from this character? Like, is he supposed to be edgy and dangerous and kind of, like, bloodlusty and, like, dashes into people and, like, does bleed damage? Or is he supposed to be, like, this sort of sleek, well-dressed, well-coiffed lover man sort of character? I don't feel like that's coherent at all. Like, not that you can't have a monster hunter that looks like this, it's just, I don't get any of that from this character design. And I don't think the character design meshes very well with what the ability, like a Shiv, right? A Shiv is like a improvised weapon that you put together in prison, right? That's not what this looks like. Right? He doesn't look like a guy who puts together improvised weapons in prison. He looks like a guy who talks his way out of a mess. Like, that's what the character design says to me, is like, this is a guy who's like quick on, like, who can fight and who can kill, like, if he needs to, but who's a chatter, who's a charmer, who's a talker. Like, that's what I get from this character design, rather than like street fighting, like merciless street killer, like who like isn't shy about playing dirty. That's not really what I get from this character design at all. So I don't think that meshes whatsoever, really. Like, there's a bunch of cool stuff going on here. Like, it's just he feels out of time with the rest of the game, first of all. And he doesn't feel like the character in his character design that either his lore or his kit implies that he's supposed to be. Like, these things don't really mesh well together, I don't think. I would not look at this guy and go, oh yeah, that's the close-up fighter who throws knives at you. That's not the vibe I get from this. Vindicta. Ah, the sniper. We have Widowmaker at home. No, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that necessarily.
I should be able to find some fun spots to shoot from. Ready to take flight. Let them try to escape. I have them right where I want them. Easier to do my job if I keep them in one place. The crows lend me their aid. Man, beast, machine. There's nothing I can't kill. Vengeance comes for them. Locked and loaded. About time.
Yeah, so that's headshot time. But you don't... Oh, you don't spend a charge unless you actually fire. Okay. And then there's, like, this scope meter.
I'll have their head. Bye-bye.
Very good. Okay.
Summoning crows. I rise.
Whee! Slow flight, but flight is flight. What, too far? What the hell do you mean too far? Also, why does she have a rapid-fire weapon when she's not sniping? What do you mean too far? I guess it's a gameplay mechanic, like a thing. But, like, what's the point of playing the sniper, then? It's like, come on. Right, so that's just immobilization.
Engaging. 98.
Okay. So, barefoot. She's got like a fancy dress, kind of, but it's torn. She's got these special tools with her, so I'd say... like the bell and the stakes... and, like, all of that, like, this kind of looks like she's either a classic sort of brown lady ghost sort of thing, or white lady ghost, probably. Like a classic sort of Victorian-style ghost who's, like, wandering the halls of some haunted mansion in her bare feet, sort of looking for the lover that betrayed her sort of thing. That's kind of, because, like, we have this, like, dark... ring under her eye with, like, what looks like mascara almost dripping down her cheeks that sort of gives the idea of sorrow, right? And then you have, like, this very long hair, this very long, well-maintained braid that sort of says, okay, this is nobility, this is someone who has enough time in their life, like, to wear their hair really long and take care of it and, like, brush it 100 times every night kind of thing. This looks like a noble woman's daughter, sort of. Like a noble family daughter sort of thing. But then you have, like, this sigil on her forehead and, like, the snake bite on her face. I can't really see what it is. And, like, the sort of streaky mascara makeup thing and the bare feet. That's sort of, like, barefoot implies a lot of different things, but mostly it implies a character who's, like, vulnerable. Like a barefoot character, especially when it's, like bare feet specifically as a thing when they have like regular clothes on the rest of their body, especially if they have an outfit where you would expect there to be footwear, but then they conspicuously do not have footwear. That can often be coding for, well, sometimes for childishness, but specifically for vulnerability in some way, right? Like, this is someone who's, like, unprotected in a harsh environment kind of vibe. So, like, what I get from this is, like, a ghost that's haunting the world kind of thing. But then there's the stakes and the bell, which feel like tools for monster hunting in some way, right? Like, so that feels like if there is, like, a monster hunter society, maybe she's, like, one of them? kind of deal vibe. Vindicta is also like, that feels like vengeance, right? Like she has a crow familiar, which is like crows, ravens, corvids. They are like signifiers and symbols of death very often. So it's a revenge thing. Let's see. A victim of John Hathorne during the Salem witch trials. Aha! Vindicta got a second chance of life when her spirit was brought back to the mortal plane during the first Maelstrom, the event that introduced the supernatural to the public at large. Waging a one-ghost war against the Friends of Humanity, a neo-inquisition formed by Hathorne's descendants, Vindicta looks to keep the supernatural safe from Hathorne's ilk, and she isn't afraid to stack as many bodies as needed to do it. So, a monster hunter, but she's hunting the monster that is man, right? Okay, yeah, that makes sense, I guess. And I guess that's where we get the vulnerability, right? Like that she was someone who was, like, victimized and murdered during the witch trials in Salem. So I guess that makes sense from that. Like, this is a haunting, right? Like, this is a ghost that has come back for vindication. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I feel like she should have a cooler weapon. This feels very much like standard asset right out of an asset pack, right? Like, this doesn't feel like the custom ghost rifle of like a vengeful spectre back from the dead. This feels like you took it off the rack of the store at some random, like, it doesn't feel customized, it doesn't feel specific or special to her, right? Where like I would want a slightly more spectacular weapon for her. Especially that sort of vibes a little bit better with the whole, like, vengeful ghost, like, slowly picking off the people who killed her one by one, like a haunting, like a revenge thing, rather than just this mechanical efficiency. Yeah. Again, I've said it a million times, unfinished game, so who knows. Besides that, like, most of this works quite well. I might have, like, given she was burned in the witch trials, right? Or, well, she was certainly killed during the witch trials. Maybe she wasn't burned, but the classic thing is you burn the witch, right? Which is where I would go, okay, maybe, like, have her have a skirt that's, like, burned around to the edges. Because, like, because that's not what's going on with her, right? Like, she doesn't look like she's burned, does she? Oh, a little bit, actually. That is maybe there a little bit. Not so much on the hero select screen or the hero gallery screen, but in-game, there is a little bit of, like, it's bright red with the jacket on top. And then you have, like, these torn edges that sort of look asymmetrical and kind of a little bit broken. And then you have the actual skirt that's, like, a little bit torn and broken. I would say put burn marks on that. Like really give it a charred edge as though it has been licked by flame kind of thing, and, like, really lean into that. Maybe do the same thing for her hair. Like, that her hair, like, the point of her hair, rather than ending in, like, a tuft of hair, ends in, like, a burning ghostly flame. Because, like... because visually like, that's a classic thing with revenants and ghosts, right? That they have something about them on their character that represents the way that they died in some way.
You're not getting closer.
I wish also that her stakes did something. I don't really know what they're for. Like, it's not, certainly don't seem to be part of her character. Like, it certainly doesn't seem to be part of her, like, ability set that her stakes do anything. The bell also doesn't really seem to have much of an effect. Like, it rings when she flies.
They're not catching me.
Right, so it's like an indication of, like, oh, hey, this character is using their flying power, I suppose. But I'm not really getting any sense of what the stakes are for, what they're supposed to do. Because, like, it makes sense in terms of, like,
Stay right there.
she has these traps that pin people in place. The stakes, I guess, would do something
Locking down an area.
for that.
Stay on your feet.
But yeah, it's just not, I guess, not implemented in her character design yet. Because, like, that's the thing is, like, given that she has these tools, right? Like, these sort of looks like mystical vampire hunter tools or whatever. I would expect those to matter more to her kit in some way. And they kind of don't seem to, so I don't know. I don't really know about that. Okay. Viscous. Oh, you sure are. Oh my god. Well, I mean, I talked about Mysterio earlier. This seems like a a much more direct sort of quote of some of his character design features. Viscous, indeed. This seems to be the poison guy who does the poison thing. And delivers poison with a poison effect to poison people. They are also... it's not 100% clear to me, but it kind of looks like he's a skeleton inside of there. At least this looks like only like a spinal column, then like the hip thing, and then... That would be cool if he was like literally just a skeleton under there. You could see through him. I'm not sure that's what actually is happening here. But like, yeah, everything about this guy says like poison or slime. Like those are the two things that this says. Is like he either does poison or he's like a goopy slime man who can do slime things. Which... Splatter. It's goo, right? It's goo. Throw in a ball of goo that deals damage and applies slow. Encase the target in a cube of restorative goo that purges debuffs, protects some damage, and increases health regen. Puddle Punch. Materialize a fist in the world that punches units in the air. That'll be a goo fist, I guess. And then Goo Ball. Morph into a large goo ball that deals damage, stuns enemies, and impact. Okay. I can see that. Okay, so he's like a goo character. I don't know about the fishbowl head, then. Is that because the goo is like a suit that he's put on over his body, and like that's... Or is his whole body made of goo? The Bermuda Triangle was never a myth. It was a shadow line nexus deep underneath the Atlantic Ocean. For the most part, things like that escaped this astral gate were benign, like Nessie. But now, something dark and predatory hunts the seas, and its denizens are scared to death. One of those inhabitants, a psychic sea anemone... I'm sorry, what? A psychic sea anemone wants to do something about it, psychically building itself an ectoplasmic goo body so it can survive on the surface. Viscous desperately is trying to summon the patrons to keep the deep safe from the adversary that lurks below. You threw me for a loop there with the psychic sea anemone. Then the fishbowl head makes sense, I guess, because that would be where the sea anemone is in, and it doesn't want people to see that it's a sea anemone, I guess, so it's all blacked out and non-transparent. Hang on. It shoots goo. Okay, that's what I wanted to know, whether it shot goo or not. From its gun, or if it was just bullets. No, it's goo. Oh, they have a ballistic arc, too, a little bit. Okay, cool.
Slow them down. I feel safer already. It's harder than you'd think, doesn't it? I feel tingly.
Gotta go fast. Whee! Boing. Okay, that's kind of cool. Okay, so the psychic sea anemone thing is like fun. That's a quirky origin for the character. It also, I don't really... I don't know that it works, really. Okay, so the idea is he's wearing a fishbowl head because he's like, that's where the sea anemone is, and it's like inside this protective dome, and it's running around, and it's because it's psychic, it can sense the outside world. Okay. But then why does the body look like that, is the thing, right? Like, if it's a sea anemone that's built itself a body to be able to, like, go on land and, like, do something for the patrons, which are, like, I guess these powerful eldritch beings, then it's like, but why is it a human body then? Like, why does it have gloves? Why does it have feet? Why any of that? Like, how does any of that interact with... Because if it was a sea anemone that has built, like, a psychic body for itself, I would expect a monstrous body. I would expect, like, a body with more legs or, like, more arms. Like, the humanoidness now feels weird. Like, I don't really... If that's what you want to go with, the idea that this is like a deep sea creature that is like putting on a vaguely human body to go on land, that's cool. But then that human body needs to be weirder, right? Like then that human body needs to be like uncanny, or the animation needs to support that with like, he doesn't like, because he doesn't have bones and he doesn't have muscles, he doesn't move like a person, right? Like he sort of flops around or like Octodads his way around, but still like moves in some way that is effective or something. Like, some part of that should be more reflected in the character, right? This just looks like a guy in a goo suit, right? Like, that's all I'm getting from the character design, is that this is a guy with a suit or a body that's made out of goo, for some reason, right? The whole sea anemone thing, that feels very... someone just wanted to do something quirky and silly. But if you wanted to do a deep sea-themed character, absolutely, that would be very cool. This ain't it, though. This doesn't say deep sea to me even a little bit. This says mad science experiment. This says flubber. This says Like, again, Batman villain, more than anything. Like, also a sea anemone, why, if you're a psychic sea anemone, why the gun then? Like, and if it is like a goo throwing gun, right? Like, it's not a shooty bang bang gun. I feel like it could look a little bit more goofy, a little bit more like a slime launcher, sort of slightly more cartoony weapon. Like, cool idea. I like the idea of a goo person entirely who has like goo abilities. That's a fun concept, but it doesn't cohere towards any greater whole here, I don't think. Warden, oh, he sure is. Weakens his enemies and chases them down. Yeah. No, he's like, oh, what's all this then? It's your bubby. That's your bubby from around the corner. That's just a fucking cop. Like, okay, sure. I guess. I don't... But then, what's the point of this, though? Like... This doesn't really look like a hero character. This looks like an NPC. Like, this looks like a mini-boss in a game where you play as, like, a criminal, right? Like, you play as, like, a heist criminal in like, 1900s London, and then this guy is, like, the mini-boss that you fight on the 3rd level or whatever. Oh, the cantle is interesting. He's got this, or this hand that he's got around his thing.
Throwing flash. I'll give it my all. You'll never kill me! To battle! Break their weapons, break their will. Today I stand before the mighty and make them kneel. Push forward! This is where you fall. I'll take on all of you. I won't yield. Ready to make my power. Face me and die. I will not fall. Charge. Think of me. I don't fear death.
Okay, I am not really feeling this guy at all. As a character design. Like, the hand in the little cage there. That's an interesting thing. That he has, like, this severed hand in a cage that feels like the sort of magic... Like, it looks like a mage hand, right? Like a magic hand like maybe a thief would use to do a burglary or whatever. Okay, sure. But as for the rest of this guy, there's really nothing here. He's just a bobby. Like, he's just a policeman. A very slightly fancy one, but this looks like a fucking mini-boss in like, Assassin's Creed game. Like, he looks like a mini-game from Assassin's Creed Syndicate. A mini-boss from Assassin's Creed Syndicate. That's what he looks like. This is very nothing. Like, there's no twist. There's nothing. Like, maybe the hand in the cage is a little interesting, but that doesn't seem to matter whatsoever. Is that what this is? To curse an enemy hero and immobilize, and that's what the hand is for? Most people think the supernatural came into the world 50 years ago. They're wrong. Its presence shaped folklore for generations, and as long as there have been people afraid of the shadows, there's been those dedicated their lives to fighting in them. Coming from a lineage of militant alchemists, Warden's family always trained for the day they would stave off a mystical apocalypse, but as time passed, the importance of the lessons seemed less and less important. What was once viewed as a sincere warning slowly morphed into being perceived as amusing anecdotes told by their superstitious grandparents. When the portal opened in Central Park, Warden's parents realized not only everything they were told was true, they were unprepared. Refusing to let the next generation sleep on the job, Warden was trained since birth to be a supernatural killing machine with one purpose: stopping patrons from ever entering our world. No, that's a bobby. That's just a cop. Like, that's just a fucking policeman. That's not what that is. None of this is in there. None of this has anything. He's supposed to be an alchemist? Oh, okay, he's supposed to be like an alchemist who fights monsters in the shadows? No, he isn't. No, I guess this is also a very, very unfinished character design. But why is he called Warden? Why does he have a truncheon and keys and handcuffs and a hand in a cage? Like, what? No, this feels like an entirely like a placeholder character design. Because that can't be based on this at all. Like, no, not even a little bit. This is really, really boring. just on its own, first of all, just as a thing. Like, this, and second of all, it looks nothing like what they're describing in the lore. At all, whatsoever. And, like, his ability kit also in-game, like, the whole floating and, like, releasing pulses of magic damage forward is like, hang on, wasn't the lore of this guy that he's like, oh, no magic powers for me, please, the supernatural is dangerous and scary. But then he starts floating in the air and throwing out, like, magic light pulses that damage people? What the hell are you talking about? Like, what? No. And none of his abilities, by the way, really feel like that. If you wanted the idea of, like, having a Bobby, right? Like, having like a, what's all this thing? An interrupting policeman. Okay, sure. Like, we can do that. But then he can't have this fucking ability. Why does that ability have, like, the flashing lights of, like, a police signal light on top of it? What? Huh? No, that does not cohere. That doesn't make any fucking goddamn sense whatsoever. No, this is a mess. What the hell is that? No, that does not work. Okay, so here we're doing much more we're doing mobster shit. This is like fully... We're fully doing mobster shit. Okay, cool. Like mobster shit, but with a bit of pink on it. Like with a little bit of like a little bit of that femininity, and then prosthetic arms. See, this I really like. I really like the hands in the pockets sort of casually, and then like these mechanical prosthetic arms that are actually wearing the jacket and like has the magic and wields the gun. That is very cool. That's a very cool way to, because that allows the character to be both like very active and very dangerous and like have like arms that do stuff, but then at the same time also be like sort of effortlessly casual. Like very cool, like very like, I don't need to lift a finger to deal with you because I have these prosthetic arms to do it for me kind of thing. That's very cool. As a design conceit, that rocks. That's very nice. I like the hat. Like I like the flamboyancy that's kind of present in this character design with the coat, with like the shiny ribbon around the hat, like with the pink. I like that as well because that contrasts nicely. When you think of like a classic mobster character, you think of someone like in a pinstriped all black suit, right? You don't really think of someone who's like fancy or flamboyant in that way. You think of someone who's like well dressed and kind of quiet and says that it'd be a shame if something were to happen to your family. Like that's sort of the idea. So I like that there's some stylishness, right? There's a little bit of coolness. Very cool reload animation as well. That like she's holding it up with like the magic as she like takes out the drum, replenishes it and puts it back in. Very cool reload animation. I really like that.
They're not gonna like this trick. Always have an escape plan. I'll slip through their fingers. I know how to make an exit. If we're coordinated, this will be devastating. Gotta remember to use this after I have someone lifted. If something's stationary, it won't last long. I make my own opportunities. I catch them alone. They're all mine. Perfect way to start a fight. Locking them down. Death comes in many forms. This is my choice.
Whoop. And of course the cards, right? Like because of casinos, mobsters, gambling, that sort of thing. Huh, waste of a buff. Let's reload and see how fast she shoots.
We're winning.
Real fast.
I don't think so. There's nowhere to hide. I love this trick.
Okay, so you charge that by doing weapon damage, and then you can cast it. Okay, cool. I like that. I like this character. Like, that has a lot of flair. That has a lot of panache. And, like, I like that just these high-waisted pants with, like, very little going on. Like, because there's so much going on up here. This character, unlike Mr. Fire guy who's like all the way back here. Infernus. Unlike Infernus, where I feel like the shoe needs a little flair, like just a little bit to bring that stylishness and that suaveness and coolness down deeper into the character design. This character feels like like there's a lot going on up here. It feels like the focus needs to be up here, and it doesn't feel like there's someone who's showy, right? Like in that way. Again, it feels like the showiness here comes from like the prosthetic arms and like the hat and things like that, but like the character themselves are very cool and casual in a way where Infernus is like more showy and kind of suave and kind of like a showman. So I quite like that. That's like the fucking prosthetic arms, like that wear the jacket and give her like the wide shoulders. That's really clever. I like as a silhouette idea. I really like that. The cornerstone of the New York gambling scene, Wraith's organization is about as open and secret as it comes. However, thanks to non-trivial amounts of bribes, shakedowns, and blackmail, Wraith knows what she's above the law. So placeholder lore, right? Like there's no actual lore here, but no, yeah, like. The prosthetic arm, like, that's killer. That is so killer. The prosthetic arms that hold the like, that is a killer visual idea. Like, doesn't tell me much about her character. Like, she looks like a mobster, right? Like, she looks like she's someone, she looks like she's the cornerstone of the gambling scene, right? She looks like she's someone who runs, like, a magically infused gambling den somewhere in the bowels of New York City. And a speakeasy kind of thing. Like, that absolutely tracks, but there's not that much there. I refuse to go entirely Japanese. Okay. Yamato. Literally called Yamato. Okay. And we have like a samurai wraith thing. With like, okay, some interesting design aesthetics. So I don't really know what to make of this in the context of the rest of the game, right? Like, as I talked about, like, there's already a character who feels somewhat out of time with the period that the game is taking its aesthetic inspiration from. This also feels like not necessarily out of time with it. Actually, like technically, the Tokugawa shogunate lasted well up into like the end of the American West, right? Like, so it's like not so much out of time, but it feels like, okay, so why are you in New York then? Right? Like, now we're doing this, like, this sort of international thing where, like, most of the other characters feel like all very rooted in, like, a North American pop culture, right? Like, North American pop culture, melting pot aesthetics, like, these different nationalities, different languages, different ethnicities. Maybe not Kelvin so much. Like, again, I don't understand why he's like, Norse, why he's Scandinavian in his accent. It feels like he should be British. And that also kind of, I don't, like, he makes a little more sense as a component of, like, this particular period of, like, Americana, because, like, that's the period of time where, like, the great explorers would have been popular pop culture figures. Like, a lot of this feels like it would come from, like, pulp novels and comics from or about this particular time period. And then Yamato is like, yes, here's a Japanese samurai ghost from Japan. Which, okay. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that the rest of the hero roster doesn't display that same idea of internationality, right? Like, of like, no, these are ghosts from all over the world, and spirits and magic from all over the world. It felt like it was all very sort of Americana. And then this feels kind of out of place aesthetically. So let's read the lore. Let's. You know what? That's cool. I like that. I like that. I like that. That is actually. I don't know what it says. This could be the lyrics to "Never Gonna Give You Up" for all I know. I like. Hang on. Let me. There must be. I'm Googling it now. Deadlock Yamato translation. Huh, DuckDuckGo isn't online. Let's see. Dexerto seems to have an article with the translation in it. But it's going... Is my internet crashing right now? What's going on here? I think my internet might be out. What the hell? Well, not completely out, but weirdly out. There, okay, there we go. Okay, so my internet seems to be glitching out on my PC for some weird reason, which is weird because it doesn't seem to be. But I guess I can read this on my phone. Let's see. An approximate translation. Let's see. Found on Twitter. Okay, I have to go to x.com, do I? Born into a family of crime bosses, Kaori and her brother, Yamato, always knew they were destined to take over the running of the Seventh Moon after their father's death. Together, they ran the organization for years, bringing profit and success, and even planning an expansion into America. This seems to be like a machine translation, so it's probably pretty approximate. The plan was simple. Kaori would remain in Japan to control the country, while Yamato will travel to America to establish an international base. Unfortunately for the siblings, some of their subordinates were not happy about Kaori's plan to take command of Japan. Rebellion was swift and violent. Yamato sacrificed his life to protect Kaori, allowing her to escape to Japan with a handful of his men to America. When Kaori and her men arrived in America, they were greeted by the man who was supposed to meet Yamato. The man was not familiar with Japanese names and called Kaori Yamato instead. Kaori thought about correcting her mistake, but he decided that the best way to remember his brother, some pronoun trouble there, was to take on the Yamato name and make his dream come true. Okay, so that makes more sense with the, okay, that addresses my concern there with, like, the thing not really fitting in. Because that's the immigrant story, right? Like, that's leaving the old country to make a new life for yourself in America. Like, that's a classic story. That makes more sense. That this is someone who's brought, like, their traditions and their history with them. I would like, again, I'm not... Because the character design to me says Wraith, right? The character design to me says, like, samurai ghost or something, right? Like, it says some kind of supernatural thing going on, especially with that really tall head. Wait, why are you punching? You have a sword. The sword even despawns from her body when she does one of her punches. Come on. That has to be a sword slash. What are you doing? Okay. At least she does have the sword slash in her abilities. Fair enough. I like that the voice acting is in Japanese and untranslated. I like that the lore is in Japanese and untranslated. I like that a lot. Shine. Okay, not really sure what that second ability does. Flying Strike. Throw a grappling hook, reel yourself towards the enemy and slowing in damage. Okay, so it's like a crowd control. Slash enemies in front of you, damaging them and slowing their fire rate. If enemy heroes hit, you heal. Okay. So, yeah. Because, like, everything about her says, like, that she's some kind of samurai ghost, right? That she's some kind of samurai wraith or spirit. Become infused with Yamato's shadow soul after an initial invincible transformation. Your abilities are refreshed and faster. Your weapon has infinite ammo. Damage resist immunity. You are unable to die in this mode. Yeah, like, that makes sense. What the hell's that? She has an alternate fire mode? I didn't even check if the other characters with guns had that. Like an AoE? Okay, cool. I didn't even check if other characters had that. Oh! Oh, that's cool. Okay, so she mostly speaks in Japanese, but then when she calls out, like, to the team, she will speak English. Oh, that's kind of cool. I wonder what this is. Does that do anything? What is the dash jump timing? Well, certainly not that. Hang on. Oh, it's not... You don't wait until the roll is finished. You do it in the middle of it. Okay, I see. That's gonna need some practice to get that down. But okay. So, like, the sort of immigrant story of, like, you left the old country, you came to America, you wanted to, like, to discover a better life or do something for yourself, or, like, even establish, like, an arm of a crime syndicate, that all makes good sense. Like, that makes sense in terms of, like, why this character is here. And I guess if they're a very recent immigrant, it makes sense that they would, like, bring mostly their own culture with them and not really have assimilated at all. I still feel like the character design is out of step with the rest of the cast, at least the well-designed rest of the cast, where, like, it feels like there should maybe be something, like, some element of fashion that they have adopted, that she has adopted from the US, or, yeah, like, because it's the idea is that, like, she left Japan in a hurry because, like, there was a coup attempt and, like, she lost almost everything she had, right? So, like, maybe she's had to awkwardly replace some of her traditional Japanese things with, like, stuff that she's found in the US, so that, like, that would give a little bit of that melting pot aesthetic to the character, like this mixture of her own original culture and, like, whatever she could find in, like, the scrap heap that is America. Because, like, as it stands, this just kind of looks like a very traditional sort of, like, a ghost samurai without much visual connection to anything else that's happening in the game, which is like, okay. I really do like that she speaks Japanese in her callouts when she's not talking to anyone else, and that her lore is in Japanese. That is very cool. I really do appreciate that. Because, like, in the age of machine translation, that's something that, like, most people can probably figure out. Like, that's something you can find a translation for that. You can find out what it says, right? But it's like, because the character... And it sort of makes me feel a little bit like... I would want, like, Ivy. Like, I would like her bio to be in Spanish, then. Like, if that's her language, right? Like, it would be cool if her thing was in Spanish. Again, because we're having this America turn of the century, like golden age of immigration, sort of thing with, like, all these various disparate characters from different cultures and communities and things. It would be cool if, like, their lore and their backstory and things about them was, like, in whatever language is their own. Like, to really emphasize and sort of drive home the whole, like, that underlying theme. That would be cool. I really like that the lore is in Japanese. That is very funny. And, like, cool. It's just cool. Besides being a funny joke because it's a joke on me, it's really cool. I do wish her character design had a little bit more of the flavor of the rest of the game. That's really the main thing. Because, like, the idea of her, like, the thing that's sort of implied by her shadow transformation thing is that, like, the soul of her brother, the spirit of her brother is in her and is, like, empowering her supernaturally and giving her abilities and things. And there are ways I feel like you could represent that in her character design. Like, maybe, if she has one sword and then the other sword is her brother's sword, right? Like, give them a very, I guess, like, this is sort of Yone from League of Legends, right? Like, it's where you have one sword that's like the normal sword and then one sword that's like the ghost sword. That sort of thing, right? Or, like, maybe, like, have her wear a mask over her face because, like, she's pretending to be her brother while she's in America, right? Like, her name is not Yamato, but she's taken on the name of her brother because, you know, now she's here and she's carrying on his legacy kind of thing. Maybe have her wear a mask, like it could even be like a traditional kabuki mask, right? To specifically just sort of signify that there's an identity fuckery happening here, like a hidden identity, a secret identity, but also that she is two people in a sense because she has the soul of her brother inside her. Like, there are things you could do to sort of emphasize the duality of the character in that way. Yeah. But mostly it's the fashion thing. Like, I really do wish that something about her was more reflective of the sort of... But on the other hand, like, so much of this is like, representative of, like, pop culture in, like, American media. And, like, the American imagination of the Japanese is like, no, yeah, like, I completely believe that you would see a character like this in, like, a Silver Age comic. That comic would also be horrifically racist. Just like, bro, like really, like very, like not. It would be the kind of comic where, like, yes, it's Yamato from the land of the rising sun, China. Like, that would be the kind of shit that would happen in a comic like that, where it's like, oh yeah, China and Japan, they're kind of the same thing, right? Like, I can see this kind of character design arriving there. Yeah, but you know, I'm also wondering about that really tall head. It's striking. Like, it's a very striking feature of the character design. And, like, it's a cool thing, like, to have the long hair that's kind of like a veil over the face. But then, why is that? Is that because she's a different species entirely? Like, is she human? Or is she, like, a specific Japanese sort of yokai creature of some sort? Ah, my internet is back. Good. Because, like, I'm not really sure how to read this character. If she's, like, just an immigrant, like a human immigrant who's come to the U.S. under unfortunate circumstances, sort of trying to carry on, or if this is, like, because, like, the completely black sclera and, like, the tall head, and, like, that makes it feel like this is, like, a ghost spirit samurai of some kind. So, like, yeah, some things about the character design I don't think gel with the rest of the game, but otherwise, cool. Okay, this was a longer video than I thought. There was a lot to talk about with these guys, and also I ended up just playing around with them a bunch. I kind of want to take him into the sandbox. Like, we're fucking doing this anyway. Like, fuck it. It's a long video on this channel. Who cares? Yeah, no, other characters don't have alt fire. They have zoom in. But she has alt fire. Okay, cool. Let me just,
No one stands toe-to-toe with me. No one stands in my way. I'll run them down. The only way to face a problem is head on. In the end, I will be the one still standing. This should keep them on their toes. Now.
Slam down with a book. Very cool.
Run, cowards. You are me. Let's see what this book can do. Blow it up.
Badoosh. Okay. So, like, the voice work on this character... Okay, so, I mean, I need to reassess his character design a bit. Because, like, the way he's put together... Like, I said he felt like a very sort of by-the-books rules guy. Certainly his voice lines imply that he's much more of a scrappy motherfucker, right? Like, much more of a punch first, ask questions later kind of guy. Which, like, okay, that's... Okay, I don't know that that works as well as the idea that I had with... Who cares? Doesn't matter. That's just me misreading the character design, I guess. But oh well, like, Deadlock. Cool character designs. A lot to talk about there, clearly. Clearly unfinished. Very unfinished. There's definitely some things that need to be worked on, but they're working on, like, the gameplay first, I suspect. so they'll get around to that. But some cool character designs. Like, there's nothing here that's boring, right? That's for damn sure. There's a bunch here that's a little bit scuffed, that maybe doesn't work so well for me. There's a bunch of stuff I can nitpick. This guy feels like he should have something more to him, especially. Like, these characters don't really feel like they have a strong connection. But every single one of these is very unique, very distinct, very interesting, and they could not be exchanged for each other. Like, one could never wear the outfit of another. Well, maybe except Warden. This is incredibly fucking boring. Like, this is nothing. Like, there's a mix of some really, really, really fucking cool ideas. Dynamo. Oh, fuck it. Hero Sandbox. I need to know how you play. And how you run. Oh, that's a good run. Because he's a nerd, right? Because he's a big college professor nerd. But look at his head. His head stays in place when the body is moving because it's stuck there with magnetism. Ah, that's so good. That's lovely.
I can't let them stop me. Time's right, I can get at anything. I'm ready for some quantum shenanigans. I should cover this in my wormhole unit. I'll support people any way I can. I thought my condition a curse. But I know how to use it to help people. There's no escaping gravity. My students think theoretical metaphysics have no practical applications. I want to let my team down. Now! I got you. Time for applied science.
Whee!
It's you and me!
I love you. Like, because with him, having a really awkward run cycle, that makes sense.
Opening black hole! I am the cosmos! Perhaps it's time to look on my abilities. Give up! Shockwave's out! My condition has its advantages. Thinking for yourself, please! I think a little shopping is in order. Excellent work.
Oh, I died. I wanted to read the text on the back of the Guardian, but oh well. Yeah, no, that... I really, really, really like Dynamo. Dynamo's so cute. Look at his book with all his, like, his fucking school supplies. Oh, his case, like, his backpack with all his school supplies, and then, like, this little Dynamo generator thing that he's got going on. That's adorable. What a fantastic character design. But oh well, I guess that's all I have to say about Deadlock at sort of a blind-ish read of the character designs. That only took 3 hours. Bye!